welcome to the Post-Human Podcast.
Welcome to the Post-Human Podcast, folks. I'm your host, yet again, Tim Turner. Tonight we are joined by Harry Reardon, host of the Authorised podcast and host of the YouTube show 20 Questions. I knew I was going to fuck up the word YouTube then. I don't know why.
No, to be fair, you handled that really well. I was intrigued to see how many times you'd have to do the intro. Are we recording?
Yeah, we're gone.
Oh, okay.
We're
Yeah,
on
'cause
now.
nothing come up for me. When I do intros, I feel bad for the guys that edit the 20 questions with, because I normally go through like quite a few takes, don't I? Like there's. But I was going to say, what's interesting talking about just before. So at the beginning of the pandemic, we had a girl that we know who's like proper musical, and she put this post out. And she's worried about how she's going to survive as a musician in the pandemic with no work and stuff like that.
Okay.
And I thought, well, I've got no money to give you. I can't help in that sense. So what we did was we created an online virtual pub. And the idea being we were going to have pub quizzes, musicians. And what we do is we create a platform so that you can thrive. So you can still perform and try and make money that way. So we created this platform. We got a bunch of dudes together, got everything sort of set in motion, and I reached out to her. I said, "Look, I haven't got money to pay you, but I can give you a platform." And she said no. So
Whoopsie.
So we rolled with it anyway.
Yep.
And what we didn't realize is creating an online virtual pub. The first episode, we drank well too much. Like trying to edit that out. We did that one ourselves. And it was just a nightmare, because we're listening back to things we're saying and we're like, you can't do that.
Well, I tend to very rarely edit. The only time I've edited is if I've fucked up my own audio. My last guest was a 3 hour 30. It's not been released yet, but I had to cut it down to an hour.
How come?
A lot of personal reasons that he didn't want to put out there. We got into a lot of stuff. We had a good drink and a smoke, and I was recording the whole time. But when you break down on a podcast several times, me included, you know, it was like, maybe we should cut some of this. It was a very good show. I wished I could have put it out there, just for humanity's sake, just to show that, you know, a lot of people can break down and have real emotions.
I felt that doing one where the woman without empathy, where she doesn't feel emotions, and I can handle most things, talking about stabbing a dude in the neck and all other kinds of crazy stuff. But the second you start talking about hurting a dog,
man.
I was like, there's my limit. Like, have at it with cats, but dogs, I just can't. I don't. I'm gonna get some cat people.
Me.
No,
It's a joke.
Are you a cat?
Yeah, I've got 2.
Oh,
I meant, no, I know you're only fucking about. You're all right.
Yeah. But the way she spoke about it, and she had this dog and it annoyed her, and she just abandoned it. She took it out into the middle of nowhere and just abandoned it, and my brain couldn't comprehend that.
No, that's fucked up.
Like,
it's crazy. I mean, you ever seen? I watch a lot of random YouTube videos, and lately I've stumbled across something called NPC Oblivion, and they're like first person kind of. Obviously, like the Oblivion music, that's like, it's all calm when you're walking around, and then it goes into like a battle theme. Well, there's just like these average videos of people just walking around and then people losing it. And then when they lose it, it hits into this battle theme. And some of them are fucking hilarious. But I went down a little rabbit hole the other week because I was like, man, these are so funny. And then kept going on and on. And then there was one of some woman who threw a dog, and even I lost it, man. I was like, man, I'm going to quit these fucking videos now, because you don't know where this is going now. Some of them were hilarious, but then one of them, literally, I was like, man, that woman just threw that dog, and I went fucking mad. Turns out the guy kept the dog as well, thank God.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it. That's what so I follow, my partner, she hated TikTok, because of the sort of thing around it, and then she downloaded it, and then she becomes sort of on this eternal rabbit hole of things, and now I've got it. I follow 200 accounts, and they're all dogs.
They're all dogs.
Yeah, they're all dogs. They're all just dog videos, and the ones that got me were the rescue ones because they would bring them in, and they're like, that this is what we found, and it's just this like scruffy mutt that just has no idea where it is, and it's
I mean,
terrified.
the only problem with TikTok is there's just tons of stigma around it. There's a hell of a lot of controversy, and I don't use it because I'm a bit
Yeah,
older, but it's just no
but
different from Instagram
it's
or whatever.
yeah, it's this what it is. I think it's this like the TikTokers versus YouTube shit that just
Mm.
happened. Like that sort of thing. That's where it comes in because I didn't pay for the fight because it's like £65 to watch
65
people that.
quid.
Oh mate, it was ridiculous. I looked at the price just out of curiosity, and the UFC was on at the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
time, so that won out. But I was watching the highlights, and you're paying double what you normally would for a normal pay per view for dudes that they were like, oh, we want to show everyone who runs the internet.
Yeah, I forgot about the
Like
UFC as well.
yeah, like Mark Zuckerberg and stuff like that. But these guys, none of them could fight, none of them could box, and it's just embarrassing. That's where for me the stigma is because it's like you're watching dudes like that get paid well too much that can't do this kind of thing, and they're desperately trying to follow in Jake Paul's
Yeah, yeah.
footsteps.
Well, he's
like,
killing it, isn't he, at the minute?
oh, just say what you
Yeah,
want
yeah.
about the dude. Like,
Killing it. The pair of them are. They're
yeah,
absolutely smashing it.
yeah. I actually, to be fair, I do really I like
Yeah,
Logan
no,
Paul.
I
don't.
love the guy.
Uh,
He's brilliant.
he's just
Yeah,
trolling.
yeah.
He's just trolling at life. He's like this song like "F you, fuck you, 2020." And it's just like he just does what he wants. Like, but everyone, what it is you've got all these bunch of dudes that are now following in their steps because they're like, oh, it made them loads of money, so we're gonna try it.
Yeah,
And
it
it's
doesn't
like,
work like that.
nah, it's embarrassing. It's really embarrassing. Like,
That's
it's
like us trying to make
weird.
150 million Spotify deal from where we are now on podcasting.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
It's not happening.
it's just not. No, they're gonna go, who are you? And I'll be like, oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
I do things that I want to do. Like, I've got it here somewhere. So I put this out at the beginning of the year, which is like a short horror. Like, I just do if I love writing, I love doing stuff like that. So yeah, I'd never do it for money. I just do it because there's interesting people
That's
out
cool.
there.
You've put a book out.
Do you know what it was? So I used to write as a kid, like just
Yeah, me
relentlessly
too.
all the time. And
Yeah,
really?
no, I've tried to, but I've just never been that committed. I got about 5,000 words, and I was
Yeah.
like, and I sort of gave up there. But sorry, carry on.
No, I was going to say what it was. I did something similar. So I started writing this like post-apocalyptic war story, and I was doing research into sort of like how you medically could so diseases that could afflict you in certain ways and stuff like that. And it took me a good couple of years, and I got not a lot, like 10,000, 15,000 words. And my sister destroyed my computer,
Ooh.
like blew it up. So I just stopped writing. I was like, well, I'm never going to recover that. Like, fuck it. And then I've been saying to my partner for years, I'm like, I'm going to do it again. And eventually it was like, well, if I keep saying I'm going to do it, I'm
Yeah.
not going to do it. So I just sat down and started writing and then just put it out. But that's what led to like this, because it's like one thing, like put out the book, great. And then sort of created the online virtual pub. And then from there, we just
You
sort of
thought
moved
about
on.
doing a audio
And-
book of it yourself? Oh, wicked! Oh,
Yeah,
brilliant!
got the audiobook.
Where can we
Yeah,
find that?
it's literally on
Cool.
Audible, and I think there's a bunch of others, but that was a process because we were listening to the auditions together, weren't we? And there was some where you're hearing these people sort of talk, and you're just sort of going, no, that's not
Yeah.
my story. But then the woman that we did get, as soon as we heard her voice, we were like, no,
Did
she's
you not
perfect,
think about doing it
absolutely
yourself?
perfect.
I know it's a lot of work.
I would love to maybe on the next one, but I don't know. It felt a little pretentious.
Well, sometimes if it's your story,
Mate.
people like to hear it from your point of view. You know.
Yeah, that's true. And then my worry was I struggle enough talking. That's why I
you
get
do fine.
like on so far. Like that's why doing the other ones I can sort of just sit back and just sort of chill. Because like that thing you do where you go, oh, I shouldn't have said that. I do that with almost everything
Yeah,
I
no.
say. It's a really bad habit. So, or I put my face in front of my mouth. I do stuff like that.
Well,
So
when I used to release my episodes at night. Well, I do most of them at night, but I used to release them right after because I do know editing, but I'd release them right after I'd done it. But then I'd go to bed and I'd be lying there going, did I say the wrong or right things? But then now I still don't edit, but I release it the following morning. But there's no thoughts about thinking whether I've said the right or wrong things, just because I've delayed it by 12 hours. So it's a bit strange.
No, I get it.
Sometimes, depending on the time of day and your process and what you do, it could all differ on your mental health. Because I overthink a lot of stuff all the time. So as a writer, and I know you overthink probably way more than me. How self-critical are you? Because I'm heavy.
Oh, yeah, massively. So it extends to everything. Like, I've been, I started boxing at like 10 years old. And I was never great. I was just a good sparring partner. I was always good at taking a punch. And it's honestly, it's the same sort of thing where no matter what I do, it's like you can't slow down. So like I would always be. So I did a show, and I won't talk shit about anyone at all who I've worked with, because like I've been on some great shows with people, but I did one, and I was backstage, and I've got a video on my phone of a bunch of dudes padding. They're just they're there padding, taking it really seriously. But if I edge the camera to the right, there was dudes doing coke off the table, and I'm in this situation where my brain starts overthinking now, because it's like, where the fuck are you? And it's like, I know the promoters probably didn't know that sort of stuff was going on, but it's not me. I was just sort of like, this is weird. And then you sort of spiral, and then you're like, I need to like get out of this. This is dodgy.
Well, that's probably the best thing you could have done in a way. Because again, when you go down them paths, you're probably not going to be where you are now. I mean, I went down some fucked up paths myself. I can't talk, I can hold my hands up to that. Yeah. I've done tons of fucked up shit, but I've also then clawed my way out of some terrible situations and mentally built myself up in different ways,
How fucked up did you
I used to do quite a lot of drugs. You can name pretty much most drugs, and I've done them. I've had some heavy years of binging. I used to move around quite a lot and fuck about, and I just didn't quite know where my place was at all in the universe, and it was just a very, very fucking fast time. And next thing you know, 2 years have gone by, and 3 years have gone by, and then you're 26, and then you're 28, and now I'm 30. And it's that's a very. You see, I don't want to condone what I'm gonna say, because bath salts are pretty fucked up, man. Like MCAT. That's pretty fucking shit. But I did a big binge of it for a substantial amount of time. But it produced very wild results. Let's put it that way.
Well, yeah, that Ronald Popo got his face eaten.
Yeah, I think so.
Bath salts.
I think
they munched it down to like here before the.
I never went violent. I just did. I was extremely creative. That was the only reason that I say it was probably my favorite, because my level of creativity and focus was through the roof. But it was also one of those where your nose would be fucked, and I've got a deviated septum probably just because of all that. But it's.
What do you mean creative?
Well, I used to do a lot of drawing. I used to do a bit of writing, and I used to play a lot of games as well at the time, and I was heavily into like it was around the time of like Black Ops 2 Zombies, and you get into the downloadable content, which is crazy fucking stuff, and I was just heavy into that, and my mind just went on some next level. It was just, I was trying to complete that for a substantial amount of time, and which was almost nigh impossible in itself. Yeah. But it just gives you a lot of creativity and determination. And again, I don't condone it, because it wasn't very fun. But during the time, it was amazing. But
yeah, I tried to do the like tortured writer thing. So like when I was writing, I went down to the pub, and I was like reading about someone who used to smoke a lot of weed, and like get really creative. So I was like, okay, so I had a little bit, sat down, got to the pub, sat down to write, and I just sort of
that
sat
was
there
the wrong
just
way.
staring at the keys, just sort of like, yeah. So I was like, I can't write with a drink or anything. Like I've got to be completely.
Stephen King's process, we did smoke
completely-
a lot of cigarettes, like just chain smoke, cigarette after cigarette after cigarette, and oh yeah, he was
also did loads of
a heavy drinker, he did loads of stuff.
Yeah, you don't write Christine.
Well,
sober in any way, do you?
he doesn't remember
Or
a few of his
Kerry.
books that he wrote, which is wild to write one of some of the biggest books. It's going to outlast a lot of us, you know. He just doesn't remember it.
Oh, mate, he's got.
I'm a
got
huge
one,
fan, so
called.
Yeah.
Have you read Everything's Eventual? So the very first story in that is a guy that wakes up, wakes up on a morgue
Yep.
table, and people around. There's two people around him, and the entire story is him just laying there listening to the conversation around him, and they're sort of talking, and that freaked me out. That is one of the greatest short stories I think I've ever read, because it's
feel in
phenomenal.
the
Like
moment.
it's like somehow, yeah, it's like claustrophobic, and it's like that fear of like, oh, this dude's dead, or
You're
dead.
not quite really knowing it,
And
are you,
he's
in
just-
some aspect.
Nah, and then all of this stuff's happening around him, and then they're talking about beginning the incision, and they sort of build up to about to, you know, like, well, what they do in a morgue. That freaked me out. Like to write something along those lines, but where his old books, yeah, like there's no way that he did that.
One of my
sober.
favourite books is the Tommyknockers. It's an amazing.
Oh, I haven't
book.
read that.
The film, the book, genius. Have you ever again, if you like, because again, I do tons of reading. Have you ever read? Did you like The Last Kingdom? Have you ever seen that on Netflix? Oh, okay.
No. I've got. It's on my list. I have a very, very long list. I'm making my way through, and we did. I started Breaking Bad
Me too.
10 years too late, and then I got
Game of Thrones.
Did ya?
Season 6. Yeah.
Yeah, Game of Thrones took me a while, only because I watched.
I haven't
Spartacus
watched.
first,
Wait, have I?
and that was so good that when I was watching Game of Thrones, it took me a bunch of seasons to be like, oh no, this is.
I've
this is
never
actually
really got
alright.
on the hype trains. So when at that time I was working a lot, and everyone was like, "Oh, you see Game of Thrones last night?" And I'm like, "Ugh, talking about that again," you know. And then years later, I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you dickhead, you missed out on one of the greatest." Because even when I watched it after, I was like, "Oh no, I could have had some brilliant conversations and missed out on years and years of waiting." And
Yeah, that I got through Breaking Bad. I think I got to season 3 or 4, and then my partner got really into it, so I went back and started rewatching it. So I never finished it. We still haven't. I'm still waiting to. I got to episode 1 of season 5, I think, and we're gonna finish Banshee,
No,
which
I've not
if you haven't
watched
seen
that yet,
Banshee,
no.
it's phenomenal.
I've heard it's meant to be really good.
That is, yeah, that's one of the best. That we're gonna finish that and then go back to that because we got to like just such an amazing build up, and now there's El Camino and Better Call Saul. We've got all these
Better
other
Call
things.
Saul's
I'm just
pretty
like,
good. I've not watched the latest on that. And the El Camino, I'm not. It's not amazing. No, I'm.
no. 'Cause all I see, so where I'm at the moment, and then El Camino, he's just got these mad scars. So I don't know any of that sort of thing.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
in the
it's
trailer,
worth a
I've
watch
just seen
still
that.
if you're an aficionado. But personally, I'm not going to give too much away just because you've not watched it yet. But I'm not going to give no spoiler alert or anything.
I've got this just this super long list of stuff that I've got to get through.
There's just never enough time in the day.
Yeah,
That's the problem. And then someone recommends you stuff as well.
Nah, and then we do. Yeah. Yeah, I've got like notepads all over the place with just stuff sort of stuck in. So sometimes I'll be going through them. I've got one down there where we got a little bit drunk and we just started talking about films we were going to watch and just writing them down. So we'll
Have you
eventually
ever read any
attack all
books
of
by
those as
David
well.
Wong? He's another good one.
No.
John Dies at the End. That's a brilliant book.
Oh, that,
Yeah, it is a film as well. The film isn't that good. Again, not that good.
if there's a history of that with films and books, though, isn't there? Because you have to like compress.
Oh, they
and
really
sort
compressed
of like
it.
take all these.
Yeah, I was just
like
going to mention that as
didn't
well.
they do that with The Dark Tower as well?
It took me several weeks to rewatch The Dark Tower because every time I watched it, I fell asleep, and it was a big problem. And then it took me, I think it was 3 days ago. It wasn't that long ago, and I tried to watch it at night, and I fell asleep. And then I was like, right, I'm watching it as soon as I get up in the morning. And I watched it, and I was like, this is actually really good. But it was heavily compressed. Matthew McConaughey is brilliant. Same for Idris Elba, you know.
That dude's crazy though. Like he's crazy. Like he just took a year off of his career just to become a professional kickboxer, smash a dude to pieces, and then
I
just
hope
start
it's going to be the new
acting
James
like
Bond, to be honest.
bizarre. Yeah, we were talking about this, me and my partner, because there's James Bond, Idris Elba, Tom Hardy, Tom Hiddleston.
I'd rather go
No,
Tom Hardy
no,
or
she said the same thing.
Idris Elba, to be honest.
Yeah, Idris Elba's not a bad shout. I'm excited to see that though, but I'm still waiting for the last film. It's been coming out for 2 years now, hasn't it?
Yeah, I don't think it might have been released actually.
Yeah.
Really?
Not yet.
Oh.
No, I'm sure of it because it keeps getting pushed back. They've been because of the pandemic. Like same for Black Widow. They're just waiting and waiting and waiting. So how does a dude go from doing a crazy amount of drugs to running a podcast?
I've been asked this a couple of times so far. I just started. Basically, my partner bought me a VR for Christmas, and then I just sort of got into doing that a little bit, and then I was like, okay, I can talk on here, and got some sort of confidence because I was a bit of an introvert, and then sort of built a room on there, and then after a couple of weeks, I sort of was like, actually, this is a bit tedious doing it with the fucking headset on. So I sort of took the headset off and then did a couple of shitty little conversations on my own, and they were rubbish and little rants. And then I was like, this is getting a bit better, and it just is what it is. I just took it on as a weird hobby, and people got interested, and some people reached out, and I was like, fuck it. If people are reaching out and want to talk to me, and I'll talk to anybody, fuck it. It's all good.
Well, I mean, yeah, you got me on your podcast, so I had a thing and then I lost it. How did you find? So you said about the first few being shitty, yeah, because it's a learning process, right? Like going through the very first time, I had a bunch of people on. I had some super interesting people, but then I had people that want to promote their stuff but don't want to talk. Which is, I'm not dissing anyone that I brought on because I'm grateful for everyone I had on. But like, I realised I wasn't approaching things right. Like sometimes where I just
what
even
I
just asking
tried to
questions,
do
I
is
just wasn't.
I'll happily promote anybody, but I just leave that sort of. I'll promote whatever they want. We'll have a little talk about that. I'll ask some questions, pretty loose. It's all just free flow. It can just be brought up whenever, and obviously, but most people have just gone straight into just informal chat, really. And it's just been more loose than anything. And I'll just go, well, if you want to promote stuff, feel free. I'll still do it in the background. And yeah, no, it's cool. The Recluse, it's called.
Yeah, no, yeah, but you sort of pick it up. Like it becomes easier. I find it each time. Like I follow.
Me too.
I don't know how many different podcasts. And at the beginning, it was, I don't know, it's one of those things that you just kind of get better at.
Because the problem is when you become a podcaster, then you start having to listen to then your guest stuff, and then you try to keep up with the old stuff that you used to listen to that kind of got you into it. It's really tricky. You're like almost listening to about 50 podcasts a week. Like,
yeah. And I'm like super competitive as well. So
yeah.
I'm like, oh, you bastards. Like, and I get
Yeah,
jealous or not jealous, but I'm like, I could have done that.
Lately, where I've
It's really
been in
strange.
pre-production because again I've not dropped it on the night, and then that following morning I've listened to a podcast, and I'm like, oh, they've just hit the exact same topic that I'd just fucking done. I was like, no, you bastards! It was like the weirdest synchronization ever.
Well, yeah, you do get that. Like, there's a lot of the popular guys. I follow a lot of like review guys, you know, like Stuckman, Jeremy Johns, those sort of guys.
It's all topical.
And
isn't
what
it?
you'll find
So-
is because they're all sort of doing, yeah, but a lot of the time because they're following movie space, a lot of the same stuff comes out, so you can follow. Like if a review comes out for Loki,
I've not watched that
you'll
yet.
get like 5 more that follow. And I didn't actually. Not that I
No,
didn't
me
want
neither.
to. I wasn't fussed about it. I'm a
Mm.
huge comic book guy. Like, I've been collecting comics since I was a kid, but for whatever reason, something about it didn't stick with or didn't appeal to me. But then my partner put it on,
Ooh.
and 3
You're on it.
episodes in, and I'm hooked. Like genuinely, like it's bizarre. Yeah, it's
I
absolutely
tried to watch
bizarre.
the
Like,
WandaVision because
just-
again, since they've done these little mini series, I've been a bit
Yeah.
like, you know, do I watch them? And I tried to watch the WandaVision, but I really struggled to get into it. I'm not going to lie. And that's kind of what put me off the Loki one a bit. I thought,
it takes WandaVision. It takes a few episodes, but then what I found with that one, because they do the era of a decade, and I love sitcoms. It's a weird thing where I just love them, and so it was interesting to go through
okay, I
like
get what you're saying, yeah.
the 50s right through to modern day. But then when there's things that happen that then it has rewatchability, because then you're like, oh, okay, now that makes more sense. So it's kind of like a
I know
strange
what you're
acid
saying
trip, but in the
completely.
best way.
Again, I've never watched Agents of Marvel either. Sorry, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., sorry. Agents of Marvel.
Yeah, but that sucks.
Didn't they have a couple of good cameos at some point?
Even they had great cameos and they had good stuff to work with, but I'm pretty certain even Kevin Feige abandoned that. Like even the main MCU, like the main films, they're like, no, that's not ours. That doesn't count, because there's certain things where like you'll be watching it, and if you go back and rewatch it, and then like one episode they're doing something, the next episode they're cleaning up after like Thor: The Dark World or something, and they're like, oh look, we're connected,
Didn't have
and
the money to get
they're
the
just
big
and
names.
then you're like, it's just. Yeah, and it's kind of like they just sort of pop up like it's like watching Fast and Furious, and then in a TV series, it's a dude just picking up car parts, and it. But like they
That's
but
a
there's
good
nothing to it.
analogy.
That's what I meant. Like it sucks.
Picking up
It
car
does, it
parts.
sucks. To be fair, even the Fast
It's
and
9
Furious,
now,
like,
isn't it?
from the beginning when they just steal. Yeah, and if you go back and rewatch the first one, they're stealing they're stealing DVD players. The big truck heist at the end is DVD players, and then like to now where they're stealing £1 billion safes and jumping skyscrapers. My actual favorite. I love this. I think it's in 6 or 7. So Vin Diesel sees like Letty, like his girlfriend. She's on the front of the car and he's on the front of his car. Of course he is. And then he like times it so it like hits the front of the car and he flies through the air and he catches her and smashes the windscreen. But then the line she says is, how did you know that car would break our fall?
Yeah.
And it's like, someone wrote that. Someone got paid to write that, and they were like,
I make jokes that the next
And
one
I'm
they're going to
like-
go into space. Oh no, they did.
They did.
I made a
No.
joke about it on Facebook, and someone
Oh,
said they did, and I
That's-
didn't believe them.
that's just-
Oh, I said they was going to start going
oh,
and
that's a
doing
spoiler. I
fucking
shouldn't have
drifts
said that,
around the
shouldn't I?
rings
I
of
haven't
Saturn.
seen it. Oh, I'd pay to watch that. To be fair, they want to do Jurassic Park,
Oh no,
Fast and Furious
how's that going to
crossover
work?
with both Universal. I'm fully invested. Cars, family,
How on earth
dinosaurs.
are they
I'm
gonna
just set in that
script
sort of.
that?
Like,
They might have to hire me. I might have to script that. I could probably get into that. Actually. Mutated fucking
I'd do it.
dinosaurs, lizard
100%.
men. That's what it is. They're going to race the lizard people. Yeah.
Truckosaurus, main villain at the end. Yeah, just
Trucks.
like blend a car dinosaur.
There was one in
thing.
The
Yeah,
Simpsons, I
just
think,
have
wasn't
that,
there?
like a fully
Like
fully
Truckosaurus.
yeah, yeah. It was in
I
the
spoke
game
about
as
that the
well.
other day as
The
well.
hit
That was
and run,
fantastic, hit and run.
the old. Still got it. I've got my copy right over there.
It's
Like we
super
went back, got
popular.
some
I'm a
collector's
huge
editions
fan of the
on
old
my
games.
PS2
You're a big fan of the Final Fantasy games.
No, I never played Final Fantasy. They always looked great, but like
Yeah, the
for me,
Getaway
it
was bad.
like games like the Getaway. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, first game I
It
ever
was a
played, I
hard
think it was
game, that was.
2004.
The
So I was
driving was
8.
fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, if you go back and play it now, it's yeah, and everyone you crash into goes, "You tosser." But it's inverted as well. If you play it now, it's like up is down, down is up. Like it's you've got to lean on the wall.
I
to
think I
kill, but
prefer
the actual
inverted.
Storyline's fantastic.
Yeah,
Like,
I think I kind of do in a weird way.
oh really?
Yeah, yeah.
That was that old school style of
I
gaming.
recently got back into PC gaming and bought
up.
the Abe's New and Tasty, and that's a bad game. Yeah, yeah, they did a
Oh.
remake.
Abe's Odyssey.
And that was
Yeah.
fantastic.
Oh, I haven't played that yet.
They
I
were
remember,
super hard.
I do remember the originals. The original. Yeah, and then there was I've got a bunch. My favorite, like in a really strange kind of way, and I will never play it again. But it's nice to know it's there somewhere. Is the like really bad sort of tie-ins,
I never
like
played that.
the old Bad Boys game.
I bet it's really bad, isn't it?
It's honestly we played the first mission, I think it was, and you're just these kind of like you're not Will Smith or Martin Lawrence. You're just these
Oh no!
Characters with like distorted faces, like
the old
like
Harry
someone
Potter.
got drunk and mashed a Sims character up, and yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Oh yeah, that looked
There's a new
Wizards.
one coming out,
Not the Wizards Unite. That's the one on the phone.
It's
Hogwarts Legacy.
See, this is where we need a Jamie. We need like a fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you've got like a first person. It's like a first person shooter. But to be honest,
I'm a big fan of both. But it's hard to just say one's better than the other because they're completely different games.
I only say it.
Oh right. Why have you not made her watch The Mandalorian? Yeah, Mandalorian. Sorry.
She likes The Mandalorian.
See, they
but
made that
Baby
to
Yoda.
bring the women in, just the Baby Yoda. Absolutely.
Yeah. And
they knew what they were doing.
And Grogu. But I do think with Harry Potter, if you were a muggle on the outside and you grabbed a bat and a handgun, I reckon you could wipe out that castle in a good 15 minutes. Like genuinely, I reckon you could. Yeah, because they've got to they've got to say the spell,
don't they? When you get so high up, you don't even have to use words.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I think,
but they've still got to say it in their head. I reckon you could just bang.
Again, I talk fast and I think fast, so I can only say that based upon maybe it's reaction time.
But I reckon I'm confident that if you had maybe. I reckon if you had like a good
bat, he wouldn't stand a chance. Joking.
Nah, like I reckon I'd run through them. I'll be honest. Like there's probably like anything, like Hermione done, Harry down. Like
it's
I don't know. That's what I think watching them. Like
what's a bit bad about the Harry Potter films is he kind of does a little bit of good magic, Harry, but is never really consistent. You never see him doing a hell of a lot. It's only the first couple of films, the odd thing, When and then you get fucking the third one with the Expecto Patronum and a little bit further on, but they never really see him do he's not a master of magic because you're not seeing him doing a million spells. He just knows about 15, No. He kills it.
Who's got it? It's Neville Longbottom at the end with the gigantic. Gets the big sword. That's the way to do it. I reckon you take them all out of the big sword.
Do you know what's funny is one of my
Just
questions
like,
was,
yeah,
if I was
just
to
smash
tell
it.
you where the legendary Excalibur sword was, would you fancy coming on a quest for it? Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I would.
I mean, I don't know where it is,
I
but
would. Yeah.
you know.
No. I would.
Oh yeah.
That's really. If you work it out, yeah, give me a call. I'm always about. Yeah. Thing is, I've always been easily persuaded. If it's like, oh, Harry, do this. No, do it. All right then. Yeah, let's go. Like I'm the worst person for that because I have this thing where I want to do everything. So it doesn't matter what it is. I want to do like goat yoga. That's on the list because
Do you
it
know where they
just
could have
it's
took that
bizarre and
castle
I
out
want to
though,
like
which is
just
a
try
huge
it
plot
just to see
hole?
what it's
Why
like.
did no one bring cannons? They'd been used in warfare for hundreds and hundreds of years. You could.
Yeah, so you literally you could you could clear that castle.
Oh,
I say if you're a muggle
SWAT
with
team.
an M16,
You're done.
you're quids in.
Maybe that's how it
Yeah,
originally got
just
taken
literally
out, was
just
by
sit
like a
still, chill.
CIA psyops operation, and that's why there's so many abandoned castles up north.
Oh, actually,
Warner
I was
Brothers.
going to say they're not Universal, are they? The Harry Potter, they're Warner Brothers. I was going to say because
Just
Fast
roping
9,
all
you go Fast and
multiverses
Furious,
with films.
Dinosaurs, Harry Potter. Like, just
Well, obviously,
yeah,
we
just
was
bring
going
it
to talk
in. Yeah,
about
just smash it.
your
What other
show, the
questions
20
you got?
questions, and that was going to be. I was going to give you 20 questions, and that was one of them.
Yes.
But no, let's talk about your 20 question show.
Oh, bring it on. Yeah, I'm up for that.
Because that again, when you first sent me some links, and you sent me two, obviously the first one that I went into was the 20 questions, and obviously I love the whole format of it straight off the bat. You know, just everything about it, the fact of the guests, their stories. Excuse me, a little bit windy there, a little bit gassy, people. You have to excuse me. That's the joys of drinking beer. But yeah, I absolutely love the format, the structure. I love everything about it. You've got some really intriguing guests that you've spoke to. I also love the introduction, and then the way it's followed by a definition of what the topic pretty much revolves around.
Yeah, that's the it's run by three dudes, and they reached out to me because they all, I think, what they had this idea for a show where they want to get super interesting people with different, like so you got her Bristophile. So she's basically her claim is that she's going to marry. I think they're together. Grant D'Amato, who is the guy who murdered his mum, dad, and brother over. Basically, he ended up paying something like £200,000 to a cam model, and he got to a point where he was stealing money and all that. And his family, they put him into rehab. Then they brought him out, or he brought himself out, and they were like, "Look, you can live with us, but you've got to stop paying money to this woman." And his solution to that was to brutally murder all three of them, you know, as you do. And she's her Bristophile, so she's attracted to people who commit these crimes. So like you've got like people like that where it's just absolutely batshit. And I think they all tried to do to host the show, and for whatever reason, they didn't feel it was right with them doing it. So they reached out to me. Something about, I don't know which one. I don't know what one they found, because there's like the virtual pub, or there's obviously authorized, and they reached out to me and they were like, "Look, we've got this thing and we want to run with it." And it's been an absolutely bizarre experience, but it's been fantastic. Yeah, so like one of our last guests, obviously the Hebristophile, and then we had a woman, and I cannot remember what the condition is now, but basically she remembers every moment of her life. And like, I think from the moment, I think 8 days old is one of her earliest memories. 8 days old, and from there she remembers everything. It's absolutely bizarre. And it was only when I finished the podcast, and an hour later I'm sitting with my partner, and I was like, I missed the perfect opportunity to ask if she'd ever misplaced her keys.
Yeah, man, that's the thing.
And
sometimes
I was like,
you've done a
never
show
gonna get
and
that
after you
opportunity
think,
again.
oh shit, the questions and segments that I could have brought in. And there's so many moments that because you're just so in the zone that you just, and again, if you're talking to people like that, you're glued, you're fixated, and you kind of struggle to take some of it in, and can't. Oh, fucking hell, can't even say the word now. I'll ignore that word. What I'm trying to say, because I can't even pronounce it at the minute. Compartmentalize it, whatever it's fucking called. Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely bizarre. Like, yeah, that's it. And sometimes you're so fixated, and it's just like the absolutely bizarre sort of.
So that's what I was going to ask: is do you find those guests? Because that must be a very tough process in a way.
No, that's them dudes. I just sort of I jump on and I just sort of do the questions and get to meet all these people, and then we record it and send it out to them, and they literally do all the work. They are fantastic in that sense. Like, those guys work so hard, and like, I'm super grateful to do it because they're building this thing, and I don't even know what they look like, to be honest with you. They reached out to me, and yeah, because I keep trying to get like a video call guy, and I just want to see what they look like. Like, I've got a strange brain, and they're proper trying to,
maybe they're from the Illuminati or something.
But like, yeah,
that's why they can't reveal themselves yet.
Oh, that'd be amazing. I wouldn't mind that.
Have you ever heard their voice, or is it just text?
Oh, we'll get them there.
Ah, brilliant.
No, never heard their voices. No, nothing at all.
And that they want you to talk to obscure people.
Out and they were like,
hey, if it works.
Yeah, and I was like, absolutely. Yeah, I would love to. Like, I just meeting people, just these interesting stories. They're just
yep.
Like, I think the other one I sent you was on my one was Tinderella. I think that was the one, and that was a bizarre experience because all I knew going into it was that she wrote 3 erotic books. So I'm like, okay, great, this is different. All you got to do, just take your time, listen, and find out. So we're going through it, and she's like, right, so I wrote 3 erotic books about my life using Tinder. So that's exhibitionism, orgies, which is something that's come up in more of my podcasts than not, which is bizarre. And yeah, and I'm like, how are you guys? And I won't get into that because my partner's gonna start throwing stuff at me. And then we got into it, and then she's talking about, so she's exhibitionist, loves people watching, orgies, in the back of cars and all like other kinds of stuff. And then she goes, well, yeah, I've been with my partner since I was 16.
Whoa.
I'm like, oh, okay, great. So what does he think? She's like, he doesn't know.
Wow.
You're like, how are you putting out a book
wild.
About this? And
she's using a pseudonym.
And she's like, yeah, no, well, I'll get, whatever.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
No face.
Okay.
But she put her voice out there. So she put her voice out into the world.
Well, two random guys didn't.
Just talking nonsense, but
that's wild, man.
Yeah, but yeah, it's like it's an absolutely bizarre. Yeah, like, and it's just crazy
mentality.
Like,
yeah,
I don't understand that sort of like, no judgments, obviously, but yeah, like, it's absolutely crazy. But then I had Celia Lissa Alvarez, which is the first time I think I actually had to stop myself from crying, so basically she wrote a book called Multiverses, and the idea is that she gave birth to twins and her son died. So she's the idea of multiverses. She sent me the book beforehand, and I read it in an hour, I think it was. And it's the idea is it's different stories throughout her life with her kids, but through different multiverses. So there's a multiverse where her son survives, and he's 30 years old, and he comes over for Christmas with his girlfriend, and they enjoy Christmas together. It's just a really short, sweet poem. Yeah, it's a bizarre experience, like, because you're listening to different versions of how things could have played out.
I can understand why you would have broke down in the way that you are, because just you talking to me about it as someone with children, that's very
and her daughter survived. Like the daughter survived, thankfully, and she's doing really well now. She's got 2 little girls, and one of the stories is having to explain where her brother is. The other story is she gets to bring him home, and she's talking to me about these things. And this was not on Zoom. This was audio only. So I'm listening, and I just move the mic away, and I'm just sort of like, just take a second, just like think about it, because
grief
it's
into beauty. Is what it is.
It's heartbreaking.
It's physically turning something that is heartbreaking and heart wrenching, and taking it in and internalizing it in a way, and then reprocessing it out in which people would go, wow, and it is extremely a beautiful. I mean, even if you didn't know her story and you was just to read the book, and I mean, I'm sure there's a blurb in there that maybe mentions it or whatever, but to read that, I might have to actually give that a gander myself, because that is right up my street. Again, people that have real stories and that turn, that just turn things into pure beauty and creativity and talent is.
Well, it was her way of processing grief, was to create these multiverses. And my dumb ass, I made a joke about. So one of the stories, her son comes over for Thanksgiving, and he's vegan. He's vegan because she's vegan.
I know what you're saying.
And I was like, oh, well, that's wishful thinking. Like I'm trying to make light of this situation, and she laughed, and I was like, oh.
No, but I know what you're saying. Even then,
thank God for that, because I was like, why did
genuinely
I was just trying to
joke
that
and there's no bad intent. You know what I mean? But how sometimes it can fly. Oh, believe you me, don't worry. This is where again people sometimes get heavily critical of themselves, because we're all humans. But can you hear that in my background? Oh, thank God! Some fuckers sounds like they've got a chainsaw out. Jesus.
No, I can't hear a thing.
Thank. No, it probably is like 2 gardens down. Yes, comes running in a minute, bursting through the door. It's fucking Leatherface, Yeah. It was because I was speaking too much about your show with the 2 guys. They sent Leatherface after me.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Mate, to be fair, you might be the first guy on that podcast.
If only it was live. If it was live, it would. But if it were,
I just. It's what do I do on the other side? Because I don't know your address, so I'd probably just commentate it. It's just he's swinging the chainsaw
he's fighting back.
Yeah, Mr. Tim Turner's having he's fighting back. He's like I don't know if I've got the that oomph, like the Joe Rogan sort of John Anik to
it's
be
funny because you said earlier about young Jamie, and I don't have someone that can fact check me. I genuinely need someone like local to me, that because I occasionally you're trying to get a free flow and you can never pull up a fact on the moment. Sometimes it's impossible. You can't know all the knowledge in the world on an improvisational situation, unless you have an IQ of 190 or something,
Well, I had my partner doing it for me recently, because it was a guy who was doing. I won't spoil it, but I didn't believe it, but I was trying to take a different approach, because he was so set on this one path. So I was like trying to nudge to my partner to be like, and eventually she started Googling stuff, because I was like,
normally
there was just certain things that weren't adding up. Turns out he was right in every sense, but I was just but I was just like,
sometimes
I don't know.
When stories seem too crazy,
but
they can't be true. You're like, what? That happened, and then that happened as well, and then it turns out that it's all completely factual.
There's, but you're always a bit skeptical. So the first we did an interview, and then we went online and we're sort of doing certain research bits, and things didn't add up. So this was like for a different one. So you have to, because we're online, you have to sort of take certain things, and I'm a bit skeptical about a lot of things anyway. So Yeah, sometimes I don't know. I get a bit. It goes both
What's the
ways because
most
I'm also
skeptical
hooked.
thing you're about? Do you believe
Like
in aliens?
so, I don't know. It's a bit strange.
Oh, okay. Now this is
Yeah,
a
I'm convinced that
first,
I've been abducted
listeners.
by aliens.
Okay,
I,
this is going to get interesting. I'm going to
no,
let you tell
my
this story.
right, right.
Yep.
Go on. So, have you seen a film called The Fourth Kind? Yeah. So the idea of that is that every night at 3 a.m. they they take you out and the recordings don't work, and in the film they play it. So they'll play the film and then they'll play the CCTV.
Ooh, I'm a
Every
3 a.m.
every
wake
day
upper.
since I watched that film, or not every day, but a lot of days, I wake up at 3 a.m.
But
Yeah,
just because you woke
aliens,
up at
mate.
that
I'm
time, I thought you was going
convinced.
to
My
go
partner keeps going, "No, you're
deeper
not."
then.
I'm like, "It might be."
Oh.
No, no, it's only because it's. I know. To be fair, but like they have that thing where they wipe you. No,
They
probably
look
not.
like
But I just thought that
owls
was
in that film
interesting.
a bit, don't they, as
That
well?
film scared the life out of me. If I wake up at 3 a.m. now, I'm up like for a while. Yeah, and that messed me up. I watched that with my friend, and he texts
The
me at
weirdest
3:15 a.m.
thing
the
that
next
I've
day
ever
saying you're a
encountered. Well, I've
prick.
had two strange moments. One, I
Like it
just
did
seen a
some
little black
damage.
thing in the sky and it was like a black shadow behind clouds, just making weird like, and it was strange. But but a couple of weeks before that, and we've got two cats, and one of them was sat in the studio where I am now, and the other one was sat on the bed. And I'd gone upstairs to grab a drink, uh, and then as I was coming down the stairs, like a jug of water knocked off my side, which was really strange. And then sort of summit went through the door, but it was just blackish. I couldn't really see, and I was a bit drunk and whatever. But then obviously when I'd come back down here and realised the cat hadn't moved, I was like, huh, what was that? You know? But it was weird. It was so strange. Well, we keep saying it's either ghosts or aliens, but my partner doesn't believe in aliens. She believes in ghosts,
Yeah.
so we say it's ghosts.
They so I wrote a horror and like
Mm, okay.
I do love horrors.
I like
Like
those.
I'm obsessed with bad 80s slashers. Like that sort of like I just love like it's super simple, just guy in a mask, big knife, choppy boy, just go nuts. But like
I haven't watched any of them yet.
the actual like ghost horrors. So like, The Conjuring 2 is the scariest film I've ever seen. I've seen The Conjuring 2 a
What?
number of times. The last time I watched it, my partner, I ended up throwing something at the
Okay.
TV. I knew it was coming. Like I knew it was coming, and it's still. I'm a wimp. I'm a massive wimp. Like the ghost, I just can't handle it. I watched The Conjuring 2, and then the next day I was at work, and my boss was like, "I need you to clean the cellar that's in the cellar." And it's like
I used to do a lot of
inside,
urban
and I'm sick
exploring
of
as
that.
well and had some
Just
weird
feel
moments
chills
there,
and
but you can't ever put it
it
to
messes me
ghosts
up.
because other people
Like
do it too. Do you know what I'm saying? But if you do, oh, I've explored a few places. The shadow
yeah,
tunnels under Birmingham.
where
I've
did
done
you
like loads of
explore?
local places around to me. Shadow tunnels were pretty cool. It's just like a bunch of old car tunnels and post, like, do you know, like
What are the shadow
where
tunnels?
they used to transport like the post under these little fucking tunnel bits and shit. But it was just mainly for cars and stuff, and it was nothing spectacular, but it's pretty long. But I've done some like under
Yeah,
city sewer shit, and that was pretty, that wasn't fun, but it was different. You'd be surprised what weird architecture you can see in the sewers.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. So we've got a bunch of underground like war bunkers, sort of in the area. And some years ago there was one, and what it was, it's basically been overtaken by the earth now. So what it is you've got the entrance sort of half out the ground and then sort of blocked by just a gigantic rock. So what you have is a gap that's about a foot and a half sort of in width. And we got through to those down into these old bunkers, and the water comes up to your sort of your feet-ish and so like into your knees. So we could only get so far. But now I think about it now, and I'm like, if there was a shift in the earth at any point, that's me done. Because like you're in the middle of nowhere, like that. I sort of think about it in a really strange way, but they're so interesting to be able to get into them if you can. And like where we used to have like the fort, so it's like it's a gigantic fort, and it's like 3 stories up, but half of it's water, so you can only really get down a bit. But some I spent my childhood on these things, just sort of like climbing, exploring, just fascinated, like because they blocked up most of it. But then some selfish kid fell and broke his legs or something, and they've completely blocked them off now. Like
there's always some clumsy kid.
They're like history. Yeah, that's it. Ruined it, mate. Ruined it for everyone. Oh yeah, like when I look at them, the sides. So you've got like your gigantic tower, and then you've got like a walkway that's like yay big. It's not really a walkway. It's just sort of. And we used to run and sprint across those and play manhunt and do all kinds of stuff. I look at it now, and you can Google, like they're on Google, like the things, and it's terrifying. Ooh. They're so high up. It's like. So what other questions we got?
I've slowly been asking them as we go.
I'm intrigued now.
Here's a random question. It's kind of a bit of a weird topic as well. Do you know much about John McAfee? McAfee? Yeah. Did you hear about it? Obviously, he's got a wild, crazy life.
Uninstalled McAfee, right?
He's done all sorts of shit. And obviously, recently has died. Did you hear about his 31 tegabytes of supposed information that is released on the sort of dead man switch? Oh, I just wondered if you knew about that. Oh, well, basically, he released a bunch of tweets. Obviously, he got arrested, and one of his tweets said, if I obviously he went to jail. He was going to go say if I go to jail and I do an Epstein, don't believe it, sort of thing. And funnily enough, he went to a Spanish jail and then hung himself. Yeah. But before that, he also then did a tweet saying if anything happened, that he set up some sort of dead man switch that would release 31 tegabytes of information to journalists, basically.
Yeah. All right. No, I've got I'm
oh, okay.
I don't really follow much. I've been trying to follow this, Matt Hancock. Because what the fuck that guy's doing? Like and I try and keep up to date, but for the most part, I'm useless at this sort of thing. I'm normally like a good month behind.
Breaking the rules anyway, that are judging him.
Prick.
That's the real problem.
Yeah, it's true. Oh, yeah. No, yeah, it's fair. No, yeah. I think there's something there that just is a bit.
Obviously, I said you believe in aliens. Who do you think would win if we had to have a fight between the human race and aliens?
Oh, I reckon. Aliens. Yeah, 100%.
Do you watch Love Island?
Like Love Island. That is just sort of like. These fuckers just can't figure it out. No, I do not. No, I do not. No, but it's just we're a bizarre species. Like we know what to do. We know what we want. We know we hate 8-hour work days. We sort of we know that if we all sort of work together, we can kind of look after each other. We can all do our bit, but yet we choose not to. We choose to sort of. And like that, we all collectively know that there's a power that is overcharging us. And I won't go too much into like politics and stuff like that, but like the amount of like MPs and stuff that have got like 2, 3, 4 houses. The dude that increased the retirement age to like 67 or whatever it is, he retired at like 55 with £1 million purse. You're like, we know that as a society, but yet no one. I just think what we should do is go like Terradome, just make them fight for it. Just like give like battle royale style. Give like Matt Hancock a frying pan, Boris Johnson a spear. I have a friend just see who comes out on top.
Who's somewhat close, and he's going into politics, but he's a wild character, and it's kind of strange. If you was to look at him, you'd go, "You're going to be going into politics, you." And if I'll show you a picture of him later, and you'll go, Really? You'll be like, never. That guy.
No, but
Yeah, yeah.
we need that. So I grew up on essentially an estate like Shameless, and one of my earliest memories is watching
Wow, that's crazy.
I was out on the road and I watched a dwarf knock out a teenager. He was in his face. He was going, "What are you going to do, little man?" You know, all the bad sort of jokes, stuff like that. And this dude just clocked him. I grew up in an area
Yeah, yeah,
where
yeah.
like bizarre people around you all the time, but like interesting stories, interesting characters.
So strange. Where
But
are
yeah,
these
our country's
people
being run
coming
by
from
like
all the time?
these
That's what's weird.
sort of very, very well.
Us.
Yeah. And how do
Yeah,
they
I mean, that's
represent
what's strange. I'm not going to vote
people?
for
Yeah,
anybody
like
that
people
doesn't. I
like
mean,
that. Like
I've got my
I
own set of
can't.
views, beliefs, and
I wasn't.
morals, but none of them are very bad. But most of the things that they end up putting through are all fucked up, and I'm like, I don't believe in any of that
No,
shit, to be quite honest.
no. There's a video you can find of
There's a
a bunch of them
25p
cheering that
pay
they
rise. I
blocked
think
a
just
bill that was
after the
going to give
COVID,
nurses pay
they did a bill
rises,
or something, and it went
and
up by something like 25p. Some fucking stupid thing. I think it was less.
yeah, and yet they gave them all what like £3 pay rise or
Oh
something
yeah,
for all
yeah,
of them.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but like over the year, it worked out to like 1,000 or 2,000. Yeah. So we know this as a society, but yet like we just kind of like, oh, it's okay because I don't understand how those people decide what's best for us because I know I wasn't raised around people like that. Do you know what I mean? Like and
That's all
my
right.
thing was, oh, I'm not going to talk about politics or religion, but like I ended up doing it anyway. But that's what I never understood. Yeah, like that's bizarre to me. And I think if aliens are watching, they're like, yeah, they just haven't got it yet. But I think the next generation, they've
Well, it's
seen
kind of what
this
we forget about is
and they're
so
making
I'll say this
strides
last
to
bit
be
is
a
that
little
we
bit
all
better
forget that
than
there's also
what's come
people of
before.
our age that also want to pursue it. So there's hope for them.
Yeah, and I do hope like the generation that's coming up, they're a bit more. I know they get like the whole. Oh my look! Every day there's a news article like, oh my god, youngsters can't do this and they
Yeah,
can't do that, and they're
that's a
depressed and all
myth,
that.
man.
But
That's what I'm
like,
saying.
they're
I know, I've spoken to
making
tons of younger
strides to
people,
be
and they
better.
are
You know?
super ambitious. So
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
all
it's not.
it's all just the narrative. That's all it is.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, yeah. But I think the type will change because there's just little things like they're saying, oh yeah, no, they're depressed, they're lazy, they're this, they're that. It's like, well, no, just things are different now, like house
Well,
prices. You
people
know,
say
like
that
just little
cannabis
things that
smokers are lazy.
are
I
are going to be.
beg
You
to
know, it's just
differ.
little things.
I get 6 hours sleep a night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. If you want to see productivity, you take away a cannabis user's paraphernalia. Just take away their ability to like a lighter and that, and you'll watch creativity. Like the toaster gets turned, you'll find a way. Like I don't think
No,
anything that.
he
If that's the
smokes
case, then
more
like
weed
Joe
than probably
Rogan
me, and I
is
smoke a lot.
lazy,
But
and
he
that
probably
dude's
gets the good
not.
stuff.
You know.
It's a big difference. Do you think we should that'll be
Yeah,
another question.
yeah,
Do you
yeah.
think we should
So
legalize
that's another
cannabis?
thing, isn't it? Like their laws.
Okay. Gets
They're
off the politics a little bit.
100%. Yeah, 100%. No, yeah. It makes sense because I mean the reason it's illegal in the first place is nothing to do with it being a drug, right? It's like so, and as drugs go, I grew up near me was quite a violent, raging alcoholic. I never grew up with a violent, raging cannabis smoker, like at all. Like I live just outside a pub, so the amount of times have been like 3 in the morning or 4 in the morning, and I'm sitting there watching two Vicky Pollards argue, and I'm just sort of sat there, and I'm like, that's not
Here's a
weed.
question,
It's
and it's
never
a
been weed.
callback sort of in a way to
You
my
know,
last show.
it's alcohol. Just
we,
Well,
we spoke a little bit about sort of actors that have made it, but then end up going into shows like EastEnders. And I made a bit of a joke. Well, I didn't even make the joke about Daniel Radcliffe might one day be in EastEnders. Do you think he might go there one day?
no, I think that dude's he's a stage actor, isn't he? Like, for the most part, maybe. But then is it Will Smith? One of them turned around a few years ago and was like, "Oh, I was in Britain
What, Will Smith
doing
wanted to
something,
go
and
on
I saw
to
this show, and I'd like
EastEnders?
to appear on that." It's never going to happen. Maybe
Oh.
though. You know, it was an A-lister who had basically been in, and they'd seen an episode. They were like, "Oh, that looked cool," but I think they were just trying to sort of like be like, "Oh yeah, no, I know what you guys like," and it's
That
like,
I might have
if
to
they
look
want the
into who
numbers, to
that
be fair,
actor
if they're willing
was,
to pay
because
a
that could have been a
substantial sum of money,
big impact
maybe.
on the show.
Yeah, but like, it's
No, I don't.
things that
I don't
just,
watch it. I know
I
people
don't know.
that do.
At
just
this
one of
point,
them
I don't think
random
there's
questions.
anything that's going to make me watch it personally. No.
Have you ever, again,
Yeah.
you ever, I said about weed, you ever done any drugs?
No, I like them.
You asked me. It's the craziest drug you've done.
I have, yes. Yeah. Sorry,
That's all right.
Nan. Oh, do you know what? Not crazy, but ecstasy. Yeah, it was just I don't know. I didn't like cocaine.
Yeah, you just want more as well with cocaine. That's
It's
the problem.
aggressive, and
You
it's
never
just
really
like
want
people
too much ecstasy.
I don't like people like grabbing me and sort of. Yeah, but no, you can just sort of like, but like, yeah, no, never
everyone's
got
done
too
that, that's the
crazy. Just a
problem.
bit of that. I sold some stuff, but no, nothing too. Yeah, just like, but I went through my phase super quick. So I started like boxing when I was 10 or 11. And then I kind of did that all the way through. And then I went for a stage where I was smoking, drinking, taking stuff. I was like
early,
15,
but I got out
16.
late.
And I very quickly got out of that. And
Again,
I was like,
I still smoke cannabis, but that's it.
Yeah. What?
Nah.
Yeah.
I take it for medicinal purposes.
Yeah, no, I never thought
mostly
like,
because
cannabis
I'm manic
is
a lot, you know.
It's you know.
Just...
Yeah. No, I never saw a problem with cannabis.
I think it will be one day.
If it became legal, I wouldn't be opposed to that. But like, yeah, but yeah, I took as a kid, but I don't like. I didn't like the environment.
Binging is like
where people were sort of starting to sometimes take too much, and
it's almost when you can
sort
see
of
things
like,
become a habit.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
fuck other people up when you want to get out.
For me. Yeah. Yeah,
oh
and
yeah, huge influence.
I found the people around you have a massive effect on that. So yeah, so like there was a select group of us that were like, there was them guys that were just super relaxed and chilled, and they loved each other, and there was this sort of like mutual respect, and everyone sort of looked after each other. And then I think one of the last times I ever took it, I was with a different group, and they were arguing and they were bickering, and it got to like quite. What are you guys doing? You know what I mean? Like, there's this one girl who just took everyone's shit, and she's in the corner like Gollum, just taking everything that she can.
I will say, I've been a fiend
and it's just
in
like,
my life,
this is not a way to live.
women
Like, what
that have been and out drugged me. So
I was at a party where this girl, she was like swinging jaw, and she went up to this guy. She's like, "What have you got?" And for whatever, he showed her the bag, and she went, "Oh, open it." So he like, opened the bag because that's how you show someone. And she like licked her finger, took the biggest scoop you've ever seen, and then went to walk off, and they had to like pull them apart. And it's like, I mean, what did you expect opening the bag? Like, I could have told you that was going to happen. But it was that sort of environment where it's like, oh, I can't be around that sort of thing. Like, I don't deal with conflict. I learned to box because I kept getting beaten up all the time. And like I would get beaten up at school, and then I'd go home, and my brother would find out I got beaten up, and then he'd beat me up. And I was like, I wish someone would just
Yeah.
stop beating me up. So like the idea was eventually.
No,
just
I
to
mean,
not
I got
fight,
bullied when I was
you
younger.
know,
It's fucking tricky, man. It's what
because I
led me kind of down a dark path.
don't like being punched.
But then, you get older and you think, what the fuck? Why did I respond to it the way I did?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Savages.
yeah. I mean, kids are vicious, like proper vicious. Like the only thing the way it was easiest for me was so like getting beat up at school. That's the thing. But then you'd come home and you'd be on your computer and they'd be like, "Oh, you're a prick." I dealt with that one pretty. I just logged off. That was my solution to dealing with that sort of stuff. But I know there was a lot of people that couldn't do that, and sort of dealt with it quite hard. But it was like twofold.
For a little while,
And
I didn't really have the internet.
I hated that. I hated that.
My dad had a farm that was fucking in the middle of nowhere. So for maybe a couple of years, so maybe from the ages of 13 to maybe 15, it didn't really make a difference. But that's kind of when it fucks you up the most in a way. So,
yeah, it's just it's navigating it, isn't it? That's the thing. It's like it's a bizarre experience, which is what's strange about doing this. Because you go from like there's no accountancy because people can just write whatever they want.
I haven't had any.
But
I only put on Anchor.
Do you get a lot of comments?
I'm gonna feed them all onto YouTube soon, and then expect the bombardment.
Oh right, oh that's cool.
There's gonna be a lot, trust me.
Yeah.
Woo! But I'll just ignore
them.
I don't care.
No, that's. I go twofold because it does. I don't let it affect me. I've got super thick skin, like super.
My process is when I put all these onto YouTube.
It doesn't affect me, but I'm always
Excuse
intrigued.
me. Because I do several shows a week. Is if someone makes a comment, I'll go, "Do you want to come on my show and talk to me?" We'll discuss it, whatever you want. Yeah. You can judge my character after a couple of hours, and then see if I'm a bad guy, and we'll take it from there.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think because when people are confronted with that,
love it.
Like, do you watch Jay and Silent Bob? So there's a great bit where they find all of the people that have been writing shit about them.
Turn up at the house.
Just a bunch of 14-year-old kids. And they just start. They're buying plane tickets to go and stamp out a 14-year-old. Yeah, and just do them in and then move on. And it's like, because it's so easy to just go, fuck you. Like this why my sign out on 20 questions with is like I always say like subscribe, like give me attention, and then I'm like, but if you're gonna comment, just take a second, think about what you're gonna say, because it's like people are so quick to go,
it's like how much shit Joe Rogan gets.
Fucking,
and
it's
like
no, just relax a little bit. Like I feel like.
Wow.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, but he handles that so well.
Really, has
like cancelled every week, and he's just like, nah, fuck it. No, exactly. Like, but they've
really.
But
huge fan of Bill Burr. I didn't even know that.
Like Bill Burr, they've been trying to cancel Bill Burr for years. Yeah, because I love him. I think he's fantastic. Yeah, there's always someone that. Like,
but he just rants.
Taking things out of context.
It's brilliant.
He's a comedian, so like what he says, and one of the best, like literally one of the best. But he doesn't give a shit because
man. Do you ever watch Kill Tony?
Yeah, you're in.
Watch
trouble,
Kill Tony.
Really,
that's amazing. It's basically it's like a 1 hour 40 show, and they'll get comedians on like a guest panel, but then they'll get just normal people to come on to do a 60-second minute.
Yeah.
And occasionally you get some brilliant ones, but then occasionally it just goes fucking meltdown. Oh yeah, and it's amazing.
What, just like bombing?
You should watch it. It's very good. It's out every Tuesday. So I always get up, boom, first thing in the morning at like fucking 5 o'clock. watch it just before I even start my day.
Yeah. No,
Yep.
I've got. I'm trying to catch up on loads of things. So Bill Burr, I've been following a lot. Bert Kreischer.
Yeah, no,
And
I
there's
am.
just a bunch of others. I'm always trying to like. I'm obsessed with stand-up comedy recently. Just like following as many people as I can. Yeah, it's, I went down a rabbit hole
No,
of.
I
You know
actually
who's
don't think I
Steve
do.
Hofstetter? I think I'm probably saying that wrong. So
Is he
he's got
American?
this thing where, for whatever reason, he gets
I'll look into
heckled
him.
all the time, just relentlessly heckled. But he's, yeah, but he's, oh mate, but he's amazing at just clapping back.
Well, that's like Tony
and just
Hinchcliffe.
sort of
Again,
like,
kill Tony.
just
you know, he's,
like where
he's a
someone will
murderer.
shout out and he's like, no, I've got you. Yeah.
Ricky Gervais.
I love
is another,
stuff like that, like
you know,
Jimmy Carr's.
I'm not.
Carr's
I've never
comebacks, some of
really.
the best.
I was put off Jimmy Carr years ago, growing
Yeah,
up. For
I think
probably no real reason apart from stupid childhood, whatever it was. So I might have to re-get back into him. But
he had a great one where someone shouted out to him and he went, "I don't come to your house and slap the dick out of your hand."
I mean,
do you?" And then he just
when I have watched him, he's got poise.
So,
you know,
I love stuff like that.
his flow and consistency of doing things is the one thing I do like about him. But
yeah,
just years ago, I was never into that sarcastic sort of comedy. So, but maybe nowadays, you know, I'm 30 now, so my views would probably differ, you know, differently. Ooh, obviously, I was going to ask. I was sort of segueing into Joe Rogan. What's your favorite episode? Ooh,
it's one with Joey Diaz. It's a super old one, and he's talking about Joey Diaz. I think he's one of the funniest guys on the planet. He kills me, like he absolutely kills me. And he's talking about the way the pubs and nightclubs when he grew up, and their laws basically were like, stop drinking at a certain time, and then you can only buy alcohol after a certain time. So what the bartender would do would buy a bunch, just drink them until the bars reopened, and then they carry on drinking.
It just feeds people edibles as well, doesn't he? Like high milligram edibles.
Anything with Joey Diaz on just kills me.
Fucks them up.
Yeah, like there's a great one where he talks about I think I can't remember, it was Tom Segura was talking about it. He's like, he was on a plane with Joey Diaz, and his dad, Tom Segura's dad, was talking about this idiot, this big musclehead that sat on his phone for like 8 hours playing Candy Crush. And then Joey Diaz came out afterwards and he's like, your dad was sat next to John Cena. Like his ability to tell stories, like I just think he's fantastic. I honestly,
that's what I was saying earlier on. It's so hard. Like I say, you start getting to podcasts
so many
yourself,
people though,
and you get like 20 that you like or 50 that you regularly really want to listen to. And then obviously you start getting guests on, and then you have to listen, and you just have to find so much time.
Yeah, the Mr. Sunday movies. So they do.
Have you
as well.
sorry, have you seen Andrew Schultz's?
They're fucking hilarious.
Yeah. Akish, I think
yes,
so.
with
Akash, I think is.
Yeah. I've been following him recently. He's Andrew Schultz. He's one of the best guys for working with a crowd. You can find just him.
So another question: what do you think of Alex Jones?
Crowd, and he's just fantastic. I think he's hilarious.
Yes, finally. God damn it!
I love him. I absolutely love him. Yeah, like people.
I don't know. Really, he's done a lot of shit that got him banned.
What did he do that got him banned from every platform?
I don't know the full backstory of him. Yeah, that's why again I was another segue.
Yeah, like that dude. I watched his latest one with Andrew Schultz.
come in with a tinfoil fucking
he's
gauntlets
just,
and
he's
the
absolutely crazy, but like
the long
in the best way.
bonkers.
The long wig, yeah. It's like no, I think he's absolutely fantastic. But then I don't know. I'm not exactly 100% sane, so
I've been trying to get
I like
his,
people like
Save
that,
the
like that
Frog
you can just
shirts
sort of
for a while.
bounce off of and just listen to. Like
The ones they brought onto the show, and they released them several weeks ago, and I've been trying to get hold of them.
No,
but they don't ship them over to the UK, unfortunately. So.
See, you're missing a trick by doing it shirtless because unless you have a t-shirt made.
Yeah,
that's
no.
just a hair
well, it's getting a bit cooler in here now, so
you've got to work something out. Like I got this one. This was my first shitty comment that I got on a post. On something, and it was a behind the scenes, so it was like camera and all the equipment, and someone just wrote
got my logo on a
they
shirt, but
misspelled it.
I wouldn't really wear it on my own show. It seems too pretentious,
so
you know.
Yeah, no, I get you. But this one, I love. This is my lucky podcasting t-shirt.
Spell it right.
It's just how angry are you to call someone a nerd?
What
website
right? Did you use to?
Yeah, it's like it's so dumb.
Oh, okay.
It's so dumb. I had no idea. I was too excited. I was like, I need to get this done, and I just went online. I was just like, nerd. I just wrote in. I didn't know
you could do it through Amazon.
You can literally do them just like I think it was Amazon. Yeah, you just custom, and it's I think it's custom shirt. I'm almost certain. I'll find out and I'll let you know because this was amazing. Like if anyone writes
new shirt every show.
I don't know if I should say that online because then I'm just going to start getting loads of shitty comments. Yeah.
What?
Excuse me. I think it's absolutely fantastic.
Obviously, we've got like tons of shitty English folklore. You know, do you believe in the Loch Ness monster? Yeah.
No. I wish it was. That'd be amazing. But like most of them can be traced back. So not English, but like Bigfoot is still this huge thing. Like they've just run like a eight seasons of finding Bigfoot. But if you do a little bit of Googling, you can find two dudes.
I've seen it.
Bought a camera and a gorilla costume. And they did this.
There was one recently
video,
that I've seen,
and
it was a guy.
And then they even came out and they were like, "Yeah, no, that was a hoax."
Wrestler, whatever you want to call it, hunter. And he was basically in a Sasquatch costume, hitting a fucking crocodile over the head with a fish, and it was one of the most insane things I've ever seen. But he regularly just does it. He's got hundreds of videos. But then when I seen this one and he was in this Sasquatch costume making monkey noises and then he pulled a fish out and just went boom over this fucking crocodile's head. It was like, whoa, that dude's mad. Probably not. I mean, he knows what he's doing because he's been in the water with them, but...
Is he trying to get eaten? Oh, right. Yeah, no, I love the internet.
What?
There's like bizarre ones. Like there's a dude that was like eating a photo of Jason Segel every day until he responded. Just bizarre people that are just like, I have an idea. Do you remember the world's greatest freak out? The guy, so he's like, oh my God, my brother just, they banned his World of Warcraft account or something like that. And he runs in, sets up the camera and he hides in the cupboard. And then the dude comes in, strips down to his pants, starts screaming, tries to shove the remote up his ass. Rages out and then just leaves. And then they run them videos for years. Like, no, you're right. I fall down
these are the only two topics. Like, I was going to bring them up last show.
They're definitely fun.
But you're one of the only people that understand where this would be able to come from because you've seen the podcast. Obviously, Alex Jones, when he said he lost all that crypto, like 300 fucking thousand crypto bitcoins or whatever it was, Do you believe that's a true story?
Yeah,
It equivalates to 500
he's
million
batshit,
like
but I
dollars or
don't
some
think he
shit
would.
like that, which
I
is
don't
a
think he'd lie.
ridiculous sum of money. Like this.
Oh.
Yeah, me too. I was going to get into it later. It was
Yeah,
going to
but
be one of my other
crypto
questions.
is
We don't have to
ridiculous,
say
though.
what
If you get
coins we
into it,
got.
like, I've
Just
got
well, you can. I start
certain
talking about them.
coins.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't mind. I bought a shit ton
Well,
of Shibu
it went up a
because I
little
was
bit and
told
it
that was going to go up,
stabilized, but
and then it went nowhere. it just,
okay.
yeah. But like from when I bought it, like I got a lot of Shibu coins. Like I got quite a lot for very cheap, and like
Oh yeah, it's cheap as fuck.
came out to like 1 million Shibus or something. But at the time, it was for like £10. Yeah, and then my friend was like, "Trust me, this is gonna, you got."
Yeah, I'm invested
And then
in
it just never went up.
several
I think it
different
went up
coins.
20%, so it went up from like
And I've
£10
I've been
to like
following the
12.
rise and fall of it since maybe February.
Yeah,
And part of me wishes I'd have got out in maybe April because it was at a huge high. And then the Elon Musk stuff, and then since then, there's been a whole lot of other things, and there was like, oh well, it's using too much power, and you know, a lot of people are then bought out, and but the sheeps, man, I believe in that. Shiba, man, buy it. Just well,
yeah.
even if it
If
breaks
you're
in
watching
5 years,
this,
this is what I
Shibu,
say.
buy it.
It's an investment
Just
now.
buy it.
Even
Yeah, just get it.
and if
Why
even
not?
if it's
Nothing to lose.
£10 and you fucking lose £10, well, who gives a fuck about that?
Yeah. Yeah, it's tenner on it. That's it. It's to be fair, I don't fully understand it. I
Yeah,
just
man.
know I'm in a group,
I'm in a few
and
groups.
they're just like, yeah, no, buy this, and if I've got the money, then I'm like, yeah, I'll get it.
Yeah, me too.
I'm just turned like wildly optimistic. That's all it is. Yeah.
Alex
It's
Jones
like,
was kind of bigging it up
if
though,
something works out,
which was
great. You know, if not, then
no, he was bigging up just
I don't call it
cryptocurrency
a
in
loss.
general. He
Was
was
that shit? What, Shibu?
claiming it kind of will be the future in a way because obviously decentralized currency and
Yeah.
whatever.
I've got a
That's
feeling
okay.
it's more research than you know. It's the same thing as like earlier. I said like they're just like, yeah,
Impulsiveness.
buy this, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, no, I'll do that. Yeah,
On
my
that
brain
same
doesn't
podcast,
question
they
things,
talked
it just
about
sort of
obviously
does.
Hunter Biden becoming an artist.
Yeah, it's bad.
That's a
It's really
weird one, isn't it?
Yes, you know, I don't know. I've heard Hunter Biden, and I heard Hunter Biden's email.
No, it's okay. They were.
literally
I
next to
after
nothing
that
about
show, I
it.
was like, I'll make some notes on
So I
that just
can
to
only
bring it up
apologise
at
for
some
that one.
point. You never know when it might come in handy, and it half did. So yay! Oh yeah, half of anything's great. You know, half of nothing
Yeah,
is
I'll
pretty
take
shit, but
half of anything.
half of anything. You got any thoughts on the new hypersonic missiles? Do you know much about that? Okay, we're going for. These are all questions that are going to be wrote down. Don't worry.
No. Let's do
Yeah, that's all right.
just
That's cool.
a bit
It gives
where
you something
I
to look
know
into.
absolutely nothing about what's going on our planet, but you ask anyway. Oh yeah, no, I'm fully invested
Well,
in
obviously you do a lot of stuff
just
though. That's the
finding out what's
thing.
going on.
You know,
Apparently,
you said that
I've been away.
clearly. That you know, again, you've got 2 podcasts essentially.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm doing 2 podcasts.
Ooh.
What else am I doing? So I run 2 podcasts. I'm writing my second book, which will come out very soon. And
You might want to
look
say
for
that
The
a little
Recluse
bit
on it.
slower.
The Recluse. Look for Inmate 8117 on Amazon in about 6 months. Remember it, write it down. Yeah, no, it has.
Okay.
Do you know what? To be fair, I'm so close to finishing this second book. Which, when it does, I'll come back to it because I'm really excited about it. Like, I had this thing. So the first one came about
It's all
from
right.
an idea of like, so I won't talk about myself too much, but which I've done for 2 hours.
Ooh.
The idea is the book is about the physical embodiment of anxiety through like and then like manifested through things like anxiety, depression, guilt. So my idea was to tackle like that, and I had this idea where I was like, oh my god, that's amazing. And then I wrote it, and then I read it and rewrote it about 50 times, and then I thought about burying the laptop in the garden and doing it off with it, and then eventually published it. And I was like, I got to a point where I was like, yeah, this is okay. It's a short story, you can read it in like a couple of hours. And then I went back because someone's asked me to write a script for it. So I was going back and rewriting it or rewriting it, rereading it to write it.
Paperboy hat.
And I was like, oh,
if you
this
had a
is just not.
paperboy hat, your writing
I'm so
skills,
hypercritical. Where I'm like, oh, I
confidence
could
would
have changed
improve
that. Or
5%.
I feel like my partner wouldn't allow it though.
Just
I do
casual
like
with
those
it.
hats. I feel like she would.
Just wear it for writing.
I'll find out. I might just
That's
buy.
all it
I
is.
just get one and just see. By then it's too late. Yeah, yeah, and then just rock up. And then so I'm doing the second book, and then other than that, I teach boxing. So so I have that job where I'm at the gym. So we spend a lot of time training and teaching, doing classes. So I try and keep up on so many things, and I'm a massive like comic book film guy. Like comic.
What's
book
your
now,
favourite comic
so,
book?
Like, always trying to just keep up. It's like I like it though. I like being busy.
Oh wow, that's
Favorite comic
badass.
book? I've got
I know
a
that comic.
first edition of The Death of Wolverine, which is yeah, that's fantastic. And my favorite's probably Civil War, the actual comic book, because it's amazing. But I've got a bunch like which are just great, and so I'm trying to like keep up
I don't
with
know what that is.
even just to keep up with stuff like that. I started reading one. It's Maniac of New York. So it's a new comic book, and it's basically a Jason type serial killer in New York, and he just can't die. So the people of New York have just kind of stopped trying, and they're just oh, okay, oh well, avoid this place because there's a serial killer there, and it's fucking batshit. Like they just learn to live with this killer that they're like, oh look, traffic down here, avoid the killer, and then
my favorite. My favorite Wolverine comic
so, like,
was the Marvel Knights.
Trying to
Wolverine.
catch up with that and just a bunch of stuff.
They did like a one to
episode.
I want to say 30 something, and it was a very continuous story, and it was fucking damn good. You can find it like online easily, but it was super good.
Yeah. I got.
You ever read any
I
Marvel
want to
Knights?
pick up
Obviously,
Comicsology
it was
because then
way darker than the normal stuff.
Sort of grab what's good. Nah, not Marvel Knights. I would. There's a bunch that.
Oh yeah. They did a Marvel Knights Punisher as well.
Like try and
Super
find
dark.
because like there's a bunch. Even like Punisher's one of my favorites, and I haven't read a Punisher book in a while because just trying to keep up with everything. But they even did a great Punisher Civil War. It's like a side because
the only thing with comics is
they had all these side stories of what everyone else.
And there's just
doing.
so many. Did you watch Invincible?
Fantastic. Like there's just a bunch.
Oh, so good. So good. Oh.
I loved Invincible. I loved it. Did you not? Oh yeah, that. So I follow the Weekly Planet, and they were talking about Invincible, and they were like, "Oh my god, it's fucking savage, it's brutal, it's this, it's that." And I watched the first episode. With my
very
partner.
end.
And if you watch the first episode, for the first half hour, nothing really happens until the very end, and then he sort of turns up to like the Justice League, And I was telling my partner, I was like, "Oh my god, this
Fucks
film is
everything
like
up, man.
nothing. It's okay, but nothing violent happened." And then he like
Yeah.
plaps. There's one of them, I think it's the Batman, that he grabs him by the feet and he essentially rolls him like a carpet, boom, just until his like head and stuff falls out. And I was like, "What?"
The fish guy got
just
smashed
happened?
in with that fucking.
And I was like,
Oh man, it was savagery.
instantly, just
Yeah.
yeah. And I was like, it finished. I was like, oh yeah, like fuck, like. And then at the end,
Oh
no
yeah,
spoilers, but he grabs
yeah.
one character gets
Brutal.
grabbed and he holds him up through a train.
Savage,
And
man.
yeah, if you know the bit I'm talking about, and the train is folding and
It was one of those weird. It was a
right.
moment because on that morning
it's like,
I'd had like a show the night before and I
mate,
was
yeah, I
super
loved it. I
hungover
thought
and
it
I
was
was like,
absolutely fantastic.
what did we watch this morning? And then I'd just seen it and when I first started watching it and I was like, oh, these characters aren't all that, and I continued watching it up until the end. But then when it come to that last bit, I was like falling asleep, and then when it got violent, I was like, whoa. It was a weird, cool moment.
Yeah, this we are like literally in the age at the moment where, as a like comic book
That was
sort of nerd growing up, like
Daredevil.
the luck and what we had when I
Ben
was
Affleck.
a kid was like Catwoman and sort of
Oh yeah.
there's and Daredevil, which and it's like
Elektra
which
as
Ben
well.
Affleck's
Was another
great,
one.
but like that film is sort of like okay, you know it is what it is. Yes, it's not
I haven't
great.
watched that yet.
And then we went through this stage where just everything becomes so good. And like the Daredevil TV series. Have you not? There's mate,
No,
Daredevil TV
I haven't. No.
series is phenomenal. It's savage. There's a have you seen The Raid? Oh, so the Raid do this thing, and the Raid is basically it's what it is
Okay.
it's an Indonesian martial arts film, and the idea is it's like a bunch of their
I
version
have
of
seen
SWAT,
it.
and all they've got to do is get from the bottom floor to the top. And it's the super simple premise, but they're all and there's a long take fight scene where it goes down a corridor and the camera never breaks. It just sort of moves.
No, I know the one. I know the one you mean now.
Thing.
I couldn't think of it again. My brain goes into
there's a scene
overspill
and
sometimes.
it's just savage. It's absolutely savage. Yeah. Like, yeah. It honestly, if you haven't seen The Raid, like, and you like action films, the Indonesian, like the martial arts thing, that I think it's.
I'm pretty sure Baraka
it's so well done.
Style
so
before
well
he
done.
uses his
And
claws.
it's just fluid. The whole film just flows. Like
maybe, yeah. I think he uses. Do you know you get do fighting styles, and then you can do the other one where then they pull the weapons out. I think it was the older ones. I think his was Salat.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh mate, it's absolutely batshit. Like they're and I love like just
what's your favourite horror?
Over the top, grotesque sort of. I love that grindhouse style of horror as well. You know, like where it's just ridiculous. Ooh. So like my favourite horror.
That's the 3D one as well.
Probably Friday the 13th.
Yeah, they filmed it in 3D.
I think it is where he finds the mask for the first time. And is it? Do you know what, horror films? They freak me out to the point I'll avoid 3D if I can. But like, I love and the remake as well.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
There's a lot in that is a bit questionable.
Rob Zombie's.
I love those old school
all of his films
slashers,
are amazing, but his Halloweens are brilliant.
Yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, the new Halloween's amazing. Yeah, there's a kill in that's done off screen. It's really strange because all you hear is the screaming and the camera.
Well, that's what was good about some old horror
really
films.
strangely done.
It was left to the imagination.
Kind of makes you feel guilty because you can only think about what's going on the inside.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's like Jaws. The mechanical shark didn't work, So they just sort of were like, "Ah, fuck it, we'll show the fin and show bits." But like that sort of style of horror, so it follows over. So there's a character in my book. One of my neighbors is a dick, and he had this thing where he would write notes, and he would like put them on your thing, and he'd be like,
Yeah.
Your so I got a motorbike. Like, your motorbike is in my space. It's not a space because we're on a communal road, so no one owns space. He's like, if your bike gets damaged, I won't take responsibility. And it's like, but you just wrote down that it's you, like, so don't be a dick. You know what I mean? And I took like that scenario.
I had 2
and I
bikes.
put him in the book. I just brutally murdered him in like the most over the top,
what do you got?
grotesque
125
fashion that I could.
Yeah.
Because he'll never read it. He'll never know.
They're so fun. I used to have a Lexmoto Ranger. And
Oh right.
I had some. I think it was called a Pioneer Nevada.
I love it. It's my baby.
It was ridiculous. I bought it for
£600.
£600. It had 23-inch monkey handlebars on it. Fun fact, it was super slow. It went 60 miles an hour at best. It also had a set of Screaming Eagle Harley exhaust pipe on it, which was stupidly loud. Now, I bought it at the time because it was worth practically more than what I paid. But when I first bought it, I had to do a 45-mile journey to take it home. And I'd only ever rode a bike where the handlebars were in front of you. And then, obviously, these had monkey bars, which your arms are up like that. Well, by the time I got home, my arms were fucked. It was one of the most stupidest decisions I'd ever made, because I never knew the full speed of it as well. And obviously going down A roads, I was like, and I was like, man, it's only going fucking 60. I'm like, going super slow.
Yeah.
Oh, the dumbest thing I ever did. I was working.
The dumbest
this was
thing you ever
on
did
this
your bike?
exact bike
Like
as well.
New to riding.
I was working at a children's centre. I used to teach like outdoor activities. I did it for a couple of months, and it was in the middle of Stafford, and basically the nearest sort of shop was like a garage that was a couple of miles down this dark, gloomy road, and my lights were fucking terrible. There was no high beam. My front beam was dog shit. So basically, a couple of nights I'd go out on these beer runs when we could have a drink. And I'd ride down this dark road with barely fuck all of light. And all I'd just do was stick to the white line. That's all I would do. Because I'd just look down and stick at that white line. Because I knew if I'd stick to that white line, I'd be all right. But there was just barely any light. Just enough light for me to just see that line. Yeah. That's the most stupidest thing I've done.
Yeah. The one for me. So, and this is it's. So I pulled up to a T junction to look left and right to see if there was anything there. And it must have been one of the first days that got my bike, and I didn't put my foot down. So I just kind of
if you want a stupid story, well,
I got
2 days after I got my first bike,
saw that no one was around.
I went to go and get some petrol. Very first time going into a petrol station.
Go on.
Filled it up, everything was okay. Come out the petrol station, and it was a brand new bike. And I went skidding out. I must have hit some oil or something as I was coming out. And and again, it was my first bike, and I went in. I was like, this is weird. I've never put petrol into a tank before, and I was a bit nervous. And I put it all in, and everything was smooth. Put my fucking petrol thing back, put my tank on, went in, paid, got back on, and I was like, that went really well. Then the overconfidence took in, and then come out, went fucking pulled up to take a swing of left out of the garage. But then obviously I went left, so I didn't make a left properly. I just went vroom, and just essentially just skidded round and went sideways down the road. And I literally fucking skidded my exhaust pipe down, and yeah, it was a brand new bike as well. I was gutted. Oil. Yeah. So I rode through a big puddle once as well and flooded my engine. on the same with the same
Oh,
bike.
I
I
love
used to
I love
go and
this.
travel to
The
a friend's
stupid
house that
stories,
was a
like,
couple of towns across. And I used to go down the lanes, and it was brilliant. And I went there, and it was cool that day, but then it
oh
flooded
Jesus,
overnight
yeah,
drastically, and I didn't realise it had flooded until I got to where it
yeah,
was. And as I sort of crept up to it on the bike, I was like, no, no, that'll be all right. And I just rode through it, and it was like,
yeah,
brrr. And I got towards the like 3/4 through, and it was just spluttering and going, and I was almost gutted because I was like, oh no, I've just broke my motorbike. Like, you know, one of them moments I almost cried. I was like, oh no. And then I pulled to the side of the road and obviously fucking waited a minute and then gave it a couple of kicks, and it sort of kept running a bit.
yeah,
And then after about 10 minutes, it was running fine ish.
yeah. It's one of those things. I've become really cynical of other riders, and do you know what it was? So I was riding on the A road, and I had this
Ooh,
fucking this meow straight past me, and when I
bastard.
looked, it was this dude with this girl on the back. She must have been no older than 8 years old, and
Helmet
she
ain't
was
gonna mean
wearing
shit.
shorts and a white tank top and a helmet, and I was like, "What the like? What are you doing?" And I had this and I had this moment where she's the same age as my niece, and I was just like, I've become sort of like we pulled out the gym this morning, and two dudes in front of us are in fucking trackies and no gloves, and I get like you're young and you do things and you think you're like super tough because you're young and you haven't been fucked up, but I've been hit by a car wearing full armor, and it took me out. Like I was out of commission for a while. So like what you're doing in
The
trackies,
worst is when
like
you see
I've become
people
sort
in
of
flip
angry
flops.
at other
You're like,
riders because like
whoa.
you you don't know until it happens. Yeah. How are you doing it? It's
No, me
just
too.
yeah, and it's like other these sort of things. It it's just because I've seen and I've experienced firsthand what happens when you get hit. Yeah, and it fucking sucks. Like it really does suck. I got hit by a kid coming too fast. He couldn't have been. I think he was 17. Like, and it was both our faults. It's no one. He was going a bit too fast. I didn't look coming out. You know, it goes both ways, and it's like
Well, I
if
was geared up, and
it's
this was my
stupid.
first
That's what
bike,
it
that
is. Yeah,
Lex
and
Moto
like if you've
Ranger,
been hit
and
and
it
you
was
know
pretty
what it's
quick.
like when you haven't
And I
got
was on my
armor,
way
I
to
can't imagine how
do an
bad that
exam,
is.
and I was behind
Yeah.
a van, and I'd come round a van, and then a car pulled out because it didn't see me because of the van, and I went straight into it. Like, luckily it was about 30, but obviously I went through the windscreen, through the car door, fuck it, not the car door, the car window, and I just went straight. My bike folded because I just went straight into the side, and I didn't really feel anything for about an hour.
Oh.
But I wouldn't want to do it again because my balls killed after that. Because I went straight into the steering column of the bike, I just went boom.
Yeah. Yeah, I did that. I was lucky. It was my waist and my hands that took the like first force. And yeah, it's but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
see people like that, and I've become sort of cynical
They don't
over
realise it until
people
they
like
end
that
up
now. You
coming
know,
off.
where
And
you're like, just
sliding's
go
the
and
worst because if
relax.
you've got nothing on when you're
Yeah,
sliding, you're just going to get a
stop it.
huge
Just go
gravel
home. Go
burn.
home. Think about what you're doing. Chill out a little bit. Yeah, yeah. One of the dudes I knew went to school with. He took off his heel like from where he came off, and he put his foot down. I think he was wearing trainers, and the trainer was the first thing to go, and
Yeah, yeah.
it just
You'll only
grinded
learn
away
that
until
once.
like he had to sort of get
That's
that fixed, and it's just like you learn from that, like you learn pretty
Ooh.
quick, you know. Yeah, exactly. Literally, I made that mistake cooking when I was a caterer. I was a chef for a while,
Oh.
and I was talking to my head chef at the time, and I wasn't
I've got
looking with my
yeah,
knife,
I've got
and
a
I
few. I've
went
got
under the nail,
one
and
right here.
it sort of
Runs
like
across my
they're
whole of my
scarred there.
thumb
And he was like,
like
"Yeah, you'll
that.
never make that mistake again."
Got one that goes
It's like,
over my whole finger there. Got tons. Nah, that was a. Do you know you get the spiked fences?
oh,
Well, I was climbing over
What
one
was
of them
the
as a
thumb?
kid.
That box cutter?
Stupidly, and I was with a friend, and there used to be a sort
Yeah,
of
I
a
know what you
tunnel
mean.
where I
Yeah.
lived, and we was trying to avoid going through it because there was some dickheads on the other side. So we was just going to climb over this fence, and we used to climb over them because we used to bunk off school all the time. So it was straightforward. But this was like a railway track,
Yeah.
and we went to climb over it, and then this train went to come booting along, and we just didn't realise. And obviously, I jumped back, but my jumper was long sleeved, got caught, and then it just ragged my whole of my thumb. So obviously, my jumper got caught, and my jumper went down the whole of the fence. But obviously, as I'd come back, it just clocked the whole of my thumb and just sliced it to pieces. But it was, yeah, no. Again, I've climbed them since then, but it was only because of that train that it was. You know, I don't advocate people to try it, but it was.
Yeah.
Now there's just you just have to. I think personally, you have to make a lot of mistakes in life just to.
Yeah, no. Yes, just sort of. I don't know. I'm the fucking king of it. Genuinely the king of it. Like,
what's the
just
worst
in
accident you've
certain
had?
instances, there's a couple in particular.
Or the
I'm
stupidest
gonna, like,
accident, I should say.
I want to take and do stand up with because they're just so ridiculous. You're like, I wouldn't. Oh, accident. I tell you, I can't tell the stupidest off the top of my head. I can tell you the most naive, which was this is the one. So when I was
You was a
younger,
kid.
So
Different view eyes.
This
Viewpoint.
girl that I used to see, she was so beautiful. Nothing on my current partner, obviously. That I was a kid. If you saw her with me, yeah, you'd think I paid her to be with me, right? And she invited me round to hers, and she went, "Oh, I want to show you something." I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, cool." And I'm naive and I'm young, and she went, "Oh, wait here." So I'm like, "All right, cool." So I'm standing in the hallway and I'm sort of waiting, and the door opens and she's wearing this like long robe thing, and she drops the robe and she's wearing like see-through stuff, you know, like the sort of sexy underwear. And I know nothing about women, and I just went, "Oh, that looks nice. Who are you wearing that for?" And she slowly pulls up this dress, and I was like, "Oh, it's." I gave her the thumbs up. I'm like, "That's great." And she's like, "I'm gonna go get changed." I went, "Okay, cool. I'm gonna go out and have a cigarette." And I went out, and then I stayed for like an hour after and chatted with her and all that sort of thing. And then I went, "Right, I'll see you later." And I left, shut the door, got 10 seconds down the road, lit a cigarette, took a pull, and then my brain went, "That was for you." And
That's a good bit, by the way.
"Oh, fuck."
That is a good bit.
And it's one of those things that, like,
you've just
that
already
just sticks with you because you're like,
anyway, so no one can steal it.
"Oh,
Yeah,
I'm gonna do it." Like, but it's so. Yes. Nah, it's mine. It's like it's so ridiculous that it's
always
like
the most fucking
at the time
when
I
you're
was
a
mortified.
because you just
Now
don't realise it until you're an adult, or even a couple of years later, and you go, "Oh man,
so
I wish I'd have done that different."
No. Yeah, like that situation was just like, and then like by my like sort of very small dating history, it never got better than that. It's like I was always just like I went on one thing where it was like I was talking to this girl and she's like, "Oh, we're gonna go for a coffee." I was like, "Oh, great." And then I met her, she gave me a hug, and then as she's pulled
That's
away,
super awkward.
and this guy's like, "Oh, I'm the boyfriend." I shook his hand, as you do, and then I sat there with them.
That's like some eyes wide shut
listening
kind
to
of business deal, you know?
Yeah, and I was like, I don't know what's happening. Like, nothing's been made clear, so I don't know the situation. And I went, "I'll go get some drinks." And I got up.
What way were they talking about money? Was they asking for it?
Like, I was just like, I'm not. I don't know what that is. Oh, they were talking about money a lot, and I was like, I'm not getting involved in this.
That's sketchy.
No, well, I thought that's where it was going. but they
Like
were
she
talking about like
rope-a-dopes
not
you
having
in,
like
then he
certain
comes
things
out.
and this
He
and that,
could,
and
do
I
you
was
know
just like,
what he
I
should have
don't
done
know
was
what's
just
going
sat
on.
over the other fucking side, and then they'd have probably got some
Yeah,
money.
so I was just like, I'm out.
Imagine
I'm
that.
out. And I
That's a fuck up on him.
yeah, well, yeah, it's just an
I
odd
think that
situation
again,
to be
that's what
like
makes
to
you
sort of
who
be
you are.
thrown
Is
straight
just
into.
going through life and having
And
these
I just
crazy
yeah, I
fucking
don't know.
moments. I've had
I've
tons.
been
Again, I'm gonna
just
again
I don't know.
again I want to pursue
Just
stand up
interesting.
myself, and I've been trying to. I almost did a 5 minute set the other day, but unfortunately, the people who I emailed
Didn't.
5 weeks prior and several times up until the other day when I went out didn't get back to me. So next month I'm just gonna land there, and yeah, I'm just gonna land and just go. Oh, by the way, give me 2 minutes. Give me 2 minutes. That's all I'll ask. Because
Yeah,
you can say a lot in two
just
minutes.
yeah. 2 minutes seems it seems perfect. It genuinely like just even if you get up there, like for me, I've got no like I don't do anything. Most of the things obviously I got my normal
Happiness
job,
pursuits.
but like the podcast and the book, like none of that's for money. Like even the like I
Oh
just do
yeah.
things because I just want to do them and see it's an
The way I'm
experience.
gonna go into it
So
is
like
I'm just gonna go up to bomb
yeah, so like
straight up.
just to be able to if we can go up and make one person laugh, fucking great, fantastic.
You've already done it.
Yeah, yeah, just yeah, bomb. Yeah,
Well,
literally.
there's a difference between
Because
bombing and
yeah,
aiming to
yeah, and
bomb.
then you, what's the worst
There's
that's
a
gonna
bit of a
happen? Like
difference.
you make
In a
what?
way,
Yeah,
maybe I
if you
could
make
be
one
wrong.
person laugh, aim
I
into
could be
bomb,
completely wrong,
you're in it.
but we'll see. My
Yeah,
own
yeah.
style of comedy is going to be pretty strange. Well, I don't know. Again, it's sort of stories and little
It's just yeah,
bullshit
it's
anecdotes and
just
nonsense.
in what way?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like we were saying earlier, like with this, like you do it and then you get better, right? Like the very first time I did it in a ring,
Dungeons.
I got pummeled. Like I was always in sort of old school gyms, so like
Oh
there was
wow.
always it was rough and yeah, and like I was in one gym where they didn't have a proper ring. It was signposts that they'd nicked, like the orange ones with the layers, and it was just sort of this old school dingy. It was in and but like I remember getting in and so like I was talking about this today actually. So there's a picture of me on the wall at one of my old clubs, and I want to steal this picture because it's fantastic. And basically, my old trainer, he could convince
Okay.
me to do anything. He used to go, "You're strong as an ox," and I'd be like, "I am fucking strong as an ox. I'll do this." And he basically, we did this gym show where it's no winners, no losers, and he was like, this kid, you got it. You're strong as an ox. You've got this. And what he didn't tell me was that this kid was 16 and fought for England. I was 12 and I just got beaten up a lot. And he kept saying it, strong as an ox. So I was like, all right, yeah. And we got in there, and I was like, this kid's big. He's like really big. So I was like, I'm going to work the body. I'm going to fight smart. So we got in there, and the bell goes, and I dropped, hit him with a body shot. And you know that moment
Landed
when you
them
look
clean as
up,
well.
and you're like, he's not phased at all. And I threw for every one punch I threw, he threw back about 30. And that every single one, he speed bagged my head for 3 rounds. And there's the picture of me on the wall is basically backstage. They went smile for the camera, and I couldn't see it because my eyesight was wrecked.
So you mentioned
from being punched
sorry, you
repeatedly in the
mentioned the
fringe of the
gym. How
nose.
often do you train?
My nose was
Because
sort of here-ish,
6 days a
and
week.
that photo is, as far as I know, is still
Yeah,
there.
on it, man.
But it's no 6 days.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I used to
we
train
literally
6 days a
my
week.
partner as well.
Obviously,
Like,
COVID happened. I've not been
I,
back since COVID, but I've
I
trained at home
I love the
consistently the whole
environment.
time.
Like, yeah,
But
like
6 days is a good one.
yeah, yeah. I'm just
Yeah,
I
no,
want
I'm
to.
5'7".
I'm my own worst enemy. So no matter what I do, I'm always hypercritical. So like I've never been the biggest guy, or I was especially boxing. I was never like the fastest or the most skilled. Yes, like literally. So it's one of those things where, but certain things stick in my head. So being 5'6", 5'7", like I remember this time specifically where someone was like, "Oh, you're all right for a short guy, aren't you?"
Yeah, yeah.
And it sticks with me as being like I always feel like I have to prove. So like, but I love the environment. Like I love sort of being there and sort of, and especially working with people, you know. So like,
Yeah,
yeah, despite my,
yeah.
when I came back, so I took some time off and I ballooned to 90 kilos.
Yeah, no, me
I
too.
become like super, for a guy that's
At
quite
the
short,
minute,
I was just
I'm
all neck
developing
and
since
gut.
COVID,
So like
and
I'm
because I've not
trying
been in
to
the
sort
gym,
of
been able
not
to do
go
certain things.
back
I'm
that way
developing this
because I
weird
love
little double
food. Like I
chin
just
thing,
love,
and it's getting a bit
yeah. So
annoying.
like, so,
Like if I go like that. So. For a small, skinny guy as well, it's kind of strange. Where's all this loose skin coming from on my face? You know. I used to have a big beard, but
it's one of those things.
maybe that's why it's come out. Oh, it's been there for this whole time. Son of a
I think
bitch.
the trick is just to beard it out, just to sort of. No, that's it. It's when so I between sort of going like super heavy, I dropped from 90 kilos to 64, and in that time, so I broke. Me and my ex split, and between the time that I last
Oh,
saw her to
nice.
the break up to then, I went from 90
Oh.
kilos to 64, and I grew out shaved my head. And I grew out a Bronson sort of style tash because I was like, I was trying to grow a beard, but the only thing that came through was the tash. So I had to go and pick up a bunch of stuff. And the look when she opened the door was like, what the fuck has happened to you? And it was
Oh
just, but
no.
the actual shaved head, you know, those roller balls.
Yeah, yeah.
So I had one of those and I set it to 5.
No, I
And as
shaved
I've
my
gone
head.
like that, it's
So
broken and it's gone 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So
yeah,
so I was
it's
just
no
like,
fucking about, man.
well, one
So
it
I used
is
to go to
then.
the barbers all the
Yeah,
time.
just roll with it. Yeah, just
Ugh.
it's the best way to do it. Yeah. No, that's it. And
Well,
the last time I
it's
went to
funny
one, they gave me a
because
bowl cut,
just
and
before COVID,
I was
I
still
did have
uncomfortable
long
and awkward to
hair
say
to the
anything,
point I
so
got it to
I just sort of
dreads.
put a hat on, were left, and then got my partner to do it when I
I
got
was
home.
bald for a while, and then I was like, oh, I'm going to grow some dreads because I always wanted to do it. But then
Yeah.
during COVID, obviously, it just got
Right. Yeah.
wild to deal with. So I just shaved them off, and then since then I've gone back to being bald. Oh yeah, makes loads of sense. So here's a question.
I think it's just easier, isn't it? You
Another one.
just
If you
maintenance
could
wise,
be
yeah.
any animal
Like
on the planet, what would you
if it
be?
was up to me, it would be completely
Oh, okay.
just gone, just
Just
nothing
as
at all. Yes.
so's a sloth till it has to
Dog.
get food.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah. They got the They got the life, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, just chill, just sort of relax, go for walks. You know.
Mm. What
Yeah,
about a
actually, a
snail?
sloth trying to get food. That's a dangerous mission, isn't it? Because the way they maneuver and they're prey, aren't they? Yeah, no, I'm not about that life. So, I don't want to be prey. Snail don't seem. I'd get stood on.
Well, this
I'm
answer
already
always kind
like
of
5 foot
changes,
tall. I'm
but
not good in crowds anyway.
I'd
I
like to
get
be a
sort of,
manta ray. That could be
I'm
pretty
not
fun.
famous for ducking and weaving enough.
Swifting about the ocean,
What about you?
gliding around. People hunt you though. Yeah, they fuck you up.
That's not a bad shout.
There was
Yeah.
a video lately of that
Gorilla wouldn't be bad.
17-year-old girl that pushed a bear off a wall.
Or a
He was
big
trying
bear.
to eat
No
her
one hunts
dogs.
bears, do they? Yeah, that's it.
Did you not see that?
Mate. Like, big.
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen that. No, I need to. Like the balls. There's There's a great one of one that I don't know if you've seen it. It ran through camp while someone was
You wouldn't
filming,
think it.
and the guy ended up on the back
So quick.
of a bear,
Out,
and he sort
outrun
of being
you.
dragged
You run up a
along.
tree.
You
It's
can
gonna
find that
fucking
footage as
climb
well,
up
and that's
there.
fucking.
You
They
feel
move so fast. They're so.
can swim as
they're
well.
So fast. Yeah. Yeah. I know.
Yeah, man. They'd fuck you up. So let's see. We've got actually one more question.
Yeah, there's literally like there's
Ooh, that's a tricky
there's
one
no
as
way out
well.
of that
I've been doing
situation.
these all
You're
off the
just
top of my head.
like-
I haven't got any of them wrote down. Not a single one has been. This has just
bring
been
it
me
on.
ticking off.
Yes.
Literally doing every time I've asked something random, I've just gone, oh yeah, let's cross that off. That's a question.
No.
But the final one, oh God, that could be. If you could have starred in any film throughout the whole of
I'm
history,
all in.
what would you? Who would you pick if you could have took the leading role in any film? That's even better.
Oh, the lead role. I was going to say Nymphomaniac Part 1 and 2, but
See, that's why you
lead
should
role,
go
no.
into stand-up because that's
Uh,
hilarious. But you could only give that reply back
no, she
you don't-
spends
in a
4
very rare
hours in Braille
circumstance.
tattoo, so
But
don't think about
your
that life.
speed for that shows a greater, intellect.
Yep.
No, me neither. Do you know much about retractable testicles?
I'm not proud of how fast I am sometimes. Yeah, so do you know what?
Well, you're lucky.
Oh no, no, I actually don't know. My testicle knowledge is not up there.
Okay.
Thinking about it, I don't know. I'd like to. It's got to be something like back when it from the 80s, like Wall Street, when everyone was just coked up and hyper all the time. Something just like where you could be on a set that's just make like history, and it's just absolutely crazy. Platoon.
What's your favourite Kevin
or
Smith
Full
film?
Metal Jacket? Like
Yeah, Dogma's good.
No, actually, I'd just be a Kevin Smith film. Just put me in there, and I could just listen to those two talk. I want to say Dogma, but I love Dogma. My favourite thing about Dogma, though, is not in the film. It's when that film was set to premiere, there's a news report. I don't know if you've seen this. Of basically, people, a religious group protesting Dogma, and they interview one man, and it's Kevin Smith. He turned up to protest his own film.
Well, to be able to do
that's
boldly.
fantastic.
And not only that,
Like
it also then
the fucks
gives
that
you
you've
that
got to
double
give to
boost.
just be like, yeah, I'll do it. Why not? Like, I love that. I think it's fantastic.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what year did it
Yeah,
come out?
'cause
Maybe
it's just like-
2000
Like,
and
this was like, I guess pre-internet, right?
yeah,
Because,
maybe 2004,
well, no one,
6, maybe
everyone was going fuck Kevin
around
Smith.
that.
No one knew what he
Because
looked
Jay and
like.
Silent Bob Strike Back come out like. Oh wait, that come out after.
Super early. It's got to be.
Hmm.
Yeah. So. Yeah, like. It's 2007, no? Or 5. Yeah. So like. That sort of early era, but I don't know. I honestly like, or even just to be on the set of.
Well, I would have gone
one,
with
Yoga Hosers. It's just
any
batshit.
kind of one of them.
There's
Again,
something
Full
about
Metal
that
Jacket,
film. I
I'm a
don't know
huge
what it is. It's
Kubrick
just
fan,
like.
so I'd have gone on
I
any one of his
I don't
sets.
know, what about you? What for film?
And took the lead in any one of his films. It wouldn't have mattered. Just to work with a guy.
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay.
I'm completely wrong, and I throw myself off. I'm gonna have to change my answer. 8 Mile. I'm a huge Eminem fan. Just thinking about it, I wouldn't want to be the lead,
You get all the
obviously
talents of
I
being the
couldn't
lead
do
role.
that,
though. It's
but
not
I'd be one of
being
the dudes that's
strictly
in it.
you,
Not Cheddar
if that
Bob.
makes
Like I don't want to be
sense.
the dude that
So
shoots a dick.
you could be the
But I
lead
could just
role,
be
and
in,
you could
I'd
be
just be
the
in the
ultimate
car or in the
rapper in
crowd
the
just
world,
listening.
and
I'd just be happy,
you know,
just sitting there bobbing along.
that's the point of it. Not saying you're physically replacing Eminem in the world,
Oh,
but
yeah.
you'd take that role and that persona as such.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, that's true. I'm far too sort of impulsive and like sort of
I haven't seen
I
that
couldn't
film in a
handle
long
the
time.
hate
It's a
that he
good film
gets.
as
You know
well.
what I mean? Like that sort of like constant aggression.
I
But yeah,
occasionally
like,
listen
I'd
to
be
some
in
of his
there
early
just sort of
stuff
just bobbing
before I do a
along,
show.
like just sort of. That'd be me. I'd be well happy.
Oh,
Oh,
De-
it's great.
depending on the show, I'll listen to Berserk.
Yeah.
If I've
I
got a
listened
few
to Higher
beers in
before
me
I
and
did
I'm
this
like, all
one.
right, let's make this wild.
That's one of
We
his
know,
songs.
we
That's
know,
like my
we'll
ultimate
put
gym.
that
That's
on,
my gym
and
song at
then
the
a
moment,
couple of
where,
others.
Yeah.
D12 were big, man. Yeah.
Yeah, go back like Dead Wrong. There's just some like there's some proper old school ones. Fight music, like that song. 40 ounce. There's that 40 ounce. I don't know why it's just fantastic. But that song, that fight music, everyone on that is spot on. Like everyone's fantastic. But
Bizarre
they're talking
was
about
one of my favourites out of
fighting,
D12.
and then when it gets to him,
Yeah,
he's
man.
talking about his place in pop culture.
I don't know.
And, like, hitting
I've
back
heard
with,
some
like,
of his
paparazzi
music,
and
but
just not everyone
I've not
else. And he completely
followed him
twists it.
personally.
Bizarre's fantastic. He's losing weight at the moment, isn't he? Because he had a.
Well, I'm going to listen to it after this podcast.
Do you know what? Conniver from D12 just released an album called Underdog Salute, and the fact that no one's talking about it, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, I'll check that out. Well,
Mate,
listen, we're on like 210.
Underdog Salute there's so many great songs
I need
on
to
that. Like,
go for a
I think I've probably got
massive
it wrong. I know that's the lead song, and that entire album's great.
I'm not going to edit that out. I don't do no editing. The show has been absolutely crystal clear, fucking McNugget perfect. It has been amazing.
Yeah.
I think we've covered so many topics. I need to get booked in first. I'm trying to get down a few paths at the minute.
Well, I'll tell you what we'll have to do is I'll have to get you on authorized
again,
once you've done your stand-up. I want to know how you go.
You know, and it's that was my plan. I was hoping to have done that by now. Even if I'd have bombed just for the fun of it.
Yeah. Record your set, put it online.
I'm hoping July I'm gonna make some moves and absolutely. But where can people follow you, man? And first of all, plug your book. You need to plug it.
Yeah, no, do it. Yeah, and keep us updated. I'm on. Oh, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, absolutely. The Recluse, Amazon, Kindle, Audible, and hopefully soon in stores. I'm working on that. And you can find me on Twitter at Mr. King Reardon.
Well, listen, this has been absolutely fantastic. This has been the Posthuman Podcast. I don't even mention my own followers anymore. It's just effort.
And
but I'll keep you
I'm always about
on the next one.